We have Mr. Wagner, Mr. Bartlett, Mr. Winters, and Mr. Bardwell. My name's Paul Dostal. We'd like everybody to make sure that they've signed in so that we can have your name for the public record. I'd just like to set a couple of ground rules. One is we'd like everybody to be able to speak, but we'd like to have people speak one at a time, again, so that we can collect the notes for the ground rules. So without anything else, we'll start the meeting. Town of Hatfield, September 4th, 2013, Town of Hatfield Planning Board, request for special permit, notice of public hearing. A public hearing will be held by the Hatfield Planning Board in Memorial Town Hall, 59 Main Street, Hatfield, Mass. on September 4th, 2013 at 7:30 p.m. on an application filed by Robert E. and Kim K. McGovern for the premises at 53 Main Street, Hatfield, Massachusetts. Assessors map 221, lot 187, currently zoned town center. For the purpose of converting the building from a single-family home to a two-family home in accordance with Section 3.0 Use Regulations, subsection 1.14, conversion of existing single-family to two-family use, not in a mixed-use development, set forth by the zoning bylaws. Complete application is available for inspection during regular business hours at the office of the town clerk, 59 Main Street, Hatfield, Mass. We'd ask the applicant to please come forward and give us a presentation of what your plans are.
Well, basically, Kim and I have lived in that church in the lower level for 25 years, 29. And we've looked up at the Bardwell's house for 29 years, and now we'd like to look down. We'd like to move up to the actual body of the church and put a second level in it. 3 bedrooms. We don't intend to change the exterior of the church at all, except for a few skylights on the south side. Everything else will remain the same. The parking in the rear is a 4-car garage with an extra parking space on the left. We're not going to have to do anything else with regard to parking. The entrance will be from the rear, as it is now, and the actual front door, when the property is finished, probably will be just for people knocking on the door looking for money. That's happened before. But that's basically our plan, and we think it'll probably take a year or so to complete it. And at that time, we may or we may not rent the lower level that we now live in. Any questions, Board?
When you say the lower level, that's
That would be
kind
the
of the
basement.
half basement, sort of?
That's correct.
Okay.
And, ceilings there, it's where they had the Sunday school, and there's 9-foot ceilings in most of it, except for where we've lowered it for some HVAC.
Okay. And that's set up as a living space now?
We've lived there for 29 years.
Okay. And this plan, it unfolds. I was kind of puzzled, but now I see there's another here. This plan encompasses the first floor and then a new second floor?
To be created, yes.
Okay.
The new second floor is within the envelope of the building. You're
Yes.
not adding
Oh,
to
no,
the...
no, it's within the structure. It's about 25-foot ceiling, so we figured a half level at either end with a connecting catwalk or something in the middle would utilize the space properly.
So is the request to the planning board not to address your renovation, but rather to turn it into a two-family so that you can have lease or perhaps even sell that lower floor separately from what
At a
will now
later
be
date, yes, that's what
first
it's
and
for.
second? Okay.
this mudroom, this is on the north side, is that correct? Is that an addition?
No.
Looks like it's existing.
That's existing, that's
Okay.
that's a porch with an
Okay.
with an overhang. And one of the ideas that the architect had was to enclose it, but I
Create
think
an entry.
to create an entry, yeah, to come in, but this is existing now.
It's this space, right?
Okay, I see that now.
Is there room for, it's 6 parking places, right, for, is it?
back, oh, yeah.
Yes, yeah, okay, because I don't see it on the plan, so as far as where the parking, so there's 6, right?
There's a 4-car garage there now,
Oh, the garage, okay,
and there's a pad to the left of it,
2 places, right?
at least.
So you're aware that you need 3 parking spaces per
Yes.
unit, per living unit, because everybody has 3 cars, or 2 cars and a guest.
He's got a 4-car garage and a 8-car parking lot.
Okay.
In the back, yeah. There's more than adequate parking for a big party.
Is there any discussion from the floor? Yay or nay? Any neighbors?
Steve Jasinski from North Street. I think it's a great idea. It's going to stay within the envelope of the building that already exists. It's going to get McGovern's out of the basement where they've been for 25 or 29 years, depending on who you believe. And I think it'll be a good addition to the town.
Mr. Leschko?
I'd just like to add that it falls within the scope of what we have now, and he has every right to do this, so I think it looks favorable for him.
Further discussion?
I don't have anything
I
else.
don't have any.
No, I'm fine.
We have a motion.
I make a motion that we
Accept the plans.
approve the special permit under subsection 114 of the Table of Use Regulations, converting the existing single-family structure to a 2-family use.
I'll second the motion. I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous.
Motion is passed. This,
Wait, period.
this application goes to the town clerk. There's a 20-day appeal.
Yeah, there's a 20-day appeal period. We have, or the planning board has forms, the notice of decision that gets filed with the
Sign
town clerk, and that starts the clock ticking on the 20-day appeal period. Once the 20-day appeal period has gone by and no one has appealed our decision, the town clerk will give you a certificate of no appeal or sign the bottom saying that no appeal, and then you need to file that at the Registry of Deeds, and then you can get your building permit from the building inspector. So that's the
After
procedure.
29 years, 20 days is a drop in the bucket.
That's the law, and we have to follow that. Okay, thank you. Good luck.
All right. Thanks. 5 minutes? Steve?
20 minutes. 8 o'clock is your next hearing.
Oh, 20 minutes, I'm sorry.
We're asking for approval of a subdivision of land that is owned by Janet Grensky at 52 School Street. She is selling the property she owns at 58 School Street and is going to add some additional land for a backyard.
It's not a subdivision, it's a division of land.
It's a division.
Subdivision.
Yeah, it's a division. It's not a it does not in any way change the use of it.
Same owners, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, this is parcel B, which is being added to 60 School Street when they choose to purchase it. Janet owns all this. And this is 58 School Street, the home we're selling, and this 3,000 square foot parcel is going to be added to give them a backyard because this is all cut out in the driveway.
Send one down here.
So Gretzky's house is over here, then? is
Yeah,
it?
she's down, right down here in the
Yeah.
corner, yeah.
Okay, I see.
So none of this creates another buildable lot?
No, it doesn't change this at all.
It just adds to the existing lots?
Adds to this existing lot and then a little bit to this existing lot.
There is an existing house here as well?
Yes, there is, yeah, and it's almost at zero lot line. There's probably 6 or 8 feet in the back, and she's offered to sell this to them as a backyard. This is the house that we're selling, and she's offered to add this to it as a backyard for them.
I just wonder how they came up with this
There were pins.
pentagonal.
When Randy came in, we found some pins, and she said, okay, I'd like to, we walked and said, along this tree line, and there was a tree line here, and then back to a pin here, and,
Okay.
yeah, it's just,
So these lots are currently pre-existing non-conforming, in that they probably don't have 200 feet of frontage, and they probably don't have the area to conform to today's zoning, but there's no changing that, and what this is doing is just giving them some more area
right.
Adding
to
16.
make them somewhat more compliant.
Yeah, yeah, and somewhat more compliant, I guess is the right terminology. It's not gonna change it an awful lot. This is about 3,000 square feet. I think this is about 1,000 square feet.
So, just back-
Well, in the case of this lot, it may make it actually easier for this person, say, to put a deck on their property or something like that, because they'll have the necessary setbacks.
Backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I would make a motion that we approve the plan
Submitted.
as submitted under the
Whatever the zoning is.
and approval not required. We're approving a plan that's not requiring approval.
Second.
Thank you. There's also, we didn't know what the filing fee was, so we've got to pay a filing fee, and then I have the,
I'm not sure if it's $75,
I think it's 50, isn't it?
50?
I think so.
We don't handle money,
I'll
so
write a check. Okay,
You'll have to see the town clerk.
I'll do that.
How about the treasurer, right
You
here?
have a-
After the town clerk.
Well, yes,
Which is the correct?
but the town clerk.
I don't know what it
takes
is.
care of
The
that.
town clerk, you pay the town clerk.
You have the Mylar too.
The Mylar?
yeah, Mylar's
Right
here.
here.
Mylar's here.
He knows what he's doing, I.
We got time to sign it. We'll sign it right now.
6, 7 copies.
Yeah, you got the stamp?
We're actually,
I didn't bring the stamp.
50.
You didn't bring the stamp? And we brought the stamp?
I got that there.
Oh, it's all set here.
Oh, we got it right up
We're
there.
all set.
that was great. You want this?
Yeah, that goes to the assessor's office.
Okay, I'll bring that.
Town of Hatfield Planning Board, request for special permit and site plan approval notice of hearing. A public hearing would be held by the Hatfield Planning Board in Memorial Town Hall, 59 Main Street, Hatfield, Massachusetts, on September 4, 2013, at 8:00 p.m. on the application filed by Charles A. Labby for the premises at 24 Linseed Road, Hatfield, Massachusetts. Assessors map number 219, lot 51, currently zoned business to buy, sell, exchange secondhand motor vehicles in accordance with 3.0 use regulations, section 4.0 retail and service uses, subsection 4.9 establishment selling motor vehicles and/or accessories set forth by the zoning bylaws.
Mr. Labby, could you come and explain to the board what your plan is, or
Yeah, you want me to stand
you
up?
can stand up
Yeah.
or come up, whatever you're comfortable with?
Yeah, basically, just want to continue the use of the property as the way it's been for probably the last 50 or 60 years. Unfortunately, my uncle let the used car license expire. I think that's in the pack I gave you. It's basically to supplement my wife and my income. By no means is it going to be some big flashy neon sign type, dealership from King Street. It's going to be low key, low budget, low expense operation to hopefully sell some used cars to the people in Hatfield and support I plan on doing a lot of sponsoring of the local sports teams. As you can see, I got the business certificate. When was that, a couple of years ago?
This was issued in 1995 and expired in 1997.
Yeah, that was from my uncle. I couldn't find my grandfather's. My grandfather purchased.
This one.
That was from my uncle.
Yeah, that's the class two. That may be talking about this, the business certificate.
But my point being that it's been a used car repair and sales facility for decades. And we carry on with my father and my grandfather's tradition. Keep a nice clean place, which everybody knows I've cleaned up a lot in the last 2 years. I've abided by all the bylaws that you guys set forth a year ago for me to operate a repair shop. I've checked numerous times over the last 2 years if there's been any complaints lodged against me, which there have been no complaints. Any work that gets done in there is late morning to early afternoon. There's nobody in there at night, and I would continue to do that. Again, this would be, like I say, a part-time thing to supplement my income.
So you're repairing cars in there now in accordance with the last site plan review we gave you in June of 2011. You're working in there now?
Yeah, part-time. I have full-time employment, so yeah, I'm not in there full-time.
So you're doing it yourself. Do you have any employees?
I don't have any employees. I have friends that come over that we work together, that kind of thing.
Okay.
What would be the hours of operation for the used car?
It would probably just be nights and weekends because I work full-time. So and most likely it'd be on an appointment basis only. Like I say, I'm not in it. I don't have to have this to make my livelihood. It would definitely help me supplement my livelihood. So it would basically be by appointment only, just like I do the repairs now. And again, it wouldn't be, I see some of the neighbors here, they can speak up. There's been no activity at night, no activity on weekend nights, nobody there early in the morning, nobody, like I say, nobody there late at night either.
Would you, when you say nights and weekends, would you anticipate at some point requesting lights to have on there?
No, I wouldn't have request lights. I only have two lights on the front and on the side, and they're real dim lit lights. They're not huge spotlights.
The ones that are on, like, just safety lights that you have
Yes.
on in the evenings?
Yeah, to pull in.
As opposed to having, lights like you would have on King Street at a
No.
used car dealer for evening showing and
No,
so on?
absolutely not. Again, this would be a very low-key operation, just the way it's been since I bought the place 2 years ago.
Where would the cars that are being offered for sale be parked? We have this
If you look at the
aerial photograph indicating parking spaces on the north side. There's
This is the plan that was approved, so the parking will be done on this side.
what's this plan? This is different than that.
Yeah, I just included that in the packet as an aerial plan that was signed by PE, that's all. This is the plan that was approved, right here. So the parking.
So that's the
This is the site
scheme, the
plan.
layout
Yes,
that would continue,
yes.
and not this one.
No, absolutely not.
Okay,
No, that was just an aerial view, so.
okay. Where would the cars be located that are being offered for sale? Are they on display? And how many cars are there do you intend on having on display and on the lot?
Right now, I wouldn't think I would have more than 2 or 3 at a time.
Okay.
Whatever the town bylaws are, I think it's 7, but
Well, the zoning says 7 it says, display of vehicles in the front yard limited to 7 vehicles. And this is in the notes of section 4.9 that you're applying under.
That's for
Garage,
sale, but
service or repair, wait, I'm sorry. After that, it says, all other display vehicles must be set back at least 35 feet from the front boundary line. So it really only limits the ones that are parked out kind of on the road for sale, kind of.
well, obviously, like I said, some of the neighbors are here. There's a car parked right here.
Yeah.
If that's not acceptable, then I would move it to wherever
Well, I mean, you
it's
need,
acceptable.
I guess you need to tell us what your intent is, and then we'll tell you whether it's acceptable or not.
Okay.
Or the zoning enforcement officer will
Right.
enforce the zoning.
Again, to abide by if it says it has to be 35 feet, I didn't know that. So tomorrow I'll move that car back to 35 feet. It's my brother-in-law's car. I just got it out there for.
There's a parcel B2 of 42,000 square feet around the already developed, is that part of your ownership as well?
Yeah, that's a grass.
That's that grass area?
Yeah, that's a grass area.
Is there any anticipation of at some point wanting to expand this operation into that parcel?
No.
I think the topography would know, this drops off right behind the,
That
this
drops
this
off.
is a paved area, that's what this line depicts, and I think this drops off down to the river, doesn't it?
Right.
In the back,
swamp,
But not on that side, not so much
Yeah.
on that side.
better word for it.
or wet ground. so.
Yeah, quite a ways back. Quite a ways back. But if the ordinance, if it says 35 feet, then obviously I would keep it 35 feet and no to the lights, no to expanding.
Okay, again, how many vehicles are you gonna have there? You said 2 or 3.
Right now, that's, I mean, what I can afford.
Okay.
You know, if it says 7, then down the road I could afford 7.
Okay.
But if
Bylaws provided, don't they?
Bob?
We're not trying to restrict it to 2 or 3, we'd just like to know. And the, I don't know, maybe I'm talking out there, but the Board of Selectmen is the Class 2 permit granting authority. They can limit the number of vehicles on display as
Oh,
well.
I understand that, yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's what we want to select. On the 7 cars, that's what the bylaw says, but that's like on Route 5 or something that you can display. When you're in a situation that you only got 160-foot frontage roughly, that's a whole different ballgame. Now you're into a residential neighborhood, so I can't say what the board is actually going to say on how many cars you're going to have, okay? That's up to the board to determine, okay? So that's an issue for the Board of Selectmen when we have that hearing, when you come before us for a car. It could be 1, it could be 2, it could be 3, okay?
Okay, I understand.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
The other issue that I have that I've noticed, and I mentioned it to the other board for wood chips being dumped in the back of there. There's a substantial amount of wood chips that were being brought in there through the year. And I'm curious as to why they're being dumped over the bank, and that's encroaching on the wetland area. Okay, so that's another question I have. Is it being filled to create parking spaces? I'm not sure. One thing for sure, it's illegal, I know that. So I wanted to bring it up to everybody's attention, so it's here, that this is what's happening, and it's got to cease.
Okay, again, I checked with the building inspector today, and I was unaware of that. If he didn't say that to me, if that's the case, then I would definitely, if people know the property. There was tons of scrub trees, evergreens. I chipped up I cut down a ton of trees and chipped them back there. I cut down some trees at my mother's house. I cut down some trees at my house. If you're telling me I'm not supposed to be doing that,
But you're within 100 feet of the road. Okay, and you can't dump anything within 100 feet of that brook, or it might be 200 feet up in the mountain area. I think we changed the zoning at one time, or the bylaws at one time. So you want to be really
Okay, well, that's good to know, I apologize, I mean.
it's up to the Conservation Commission to enforce it, so, you know, I'm just bringing it to your attention tonight, that that's what's happening out there.
But that's unfortunate, I wish I knew that. I mean, personally, I didn't see any difference of a tree falling in the forest or a tree falling from the bank into the swamp. I mean, wood is wood.
It is when you're filling into a wetland area, you can't do that.
Okay, I didn't have it surveyed, I didn't have it surveyed for wetlands, I did have it surveyed. I said I did not have the wetlands surveyed. I did have the property line.
Right over, I know the land very good, and right over that bank, it's all wet in that swampy area there. So the
Okay.
whole, even behind your building, right behind the building there, I mean, you're within probably 30, 40 feet of the wetland right there. So you're really restricted on what you can do there.
Okay. Well, I didn't know that, obviously that'll stop them.
And then the other thing is there adequate septic system for that?
No, I know.
Okay.
That's a whole other thing. You're gonna run a business out of there, it's gonna have to have an adequate toilet and septic system.
Okay, I knew this was the first step. I wanted to try to go over this hurdle first, and then I know I have to go fill out the permit and paperwork to go in front of you folks, so. No, I understand that, but without this, I can't.
Just so you're clear here, that I don't know what the Board of Selectmen is gonna determine how many cars, okay? Because you're in a residential section.
And I understand that 100%, and I understand the concerns of of our neighbors, which I've known for years and years. And I understand that.
Any discussion from the floor?
John Lyman, 26 Lindsay Road. Why does he need this special permit? He's selling cars there right now, ain't he?
Well, we're not aware of that, we're not policemen.
I'm just telling him, you know, if he's doing it now,
Yes.
why does he need one for that? And what's
Makes it
considered-
legit, because it legitimizes the business
What's
then.
considered car accessories? Is he gonna start dismantling cars there? He talks about his family in the past. That was a junkyard when Henry had it. In the 50s and 60s, there was over 100 junk cars in there. And his father ran an oil business out of there. I just don't want to see it go back to a junkyard.
Well, in my opinion,
Well, what
accessories are not parts taken off a junk car. It would be, I don't know, seat covers or wheels, mag wheels, or something like that would be something you accessorize your car with, but not.
Where are these parts going to come from? You're going to buy this from a distributor, or are you going to take them out of cars?
I'm sorry?
Are you going to buy these parts from a distributor, or are you going to take them out of cars and resell them?
No, I'm not in the used car business. I'm not in like Searle's used car business. Searle's where they stack cars up on top of each other. No, if I'm gonna put an accessory in a car, it's gonna be a remote start, windows, things like that.
And see, the bylaw says establishment selling motor vehicles and/or accessories. The bylaw says that, the bylaw has the word accessories in it. Whether he chooses to sell accessories that's a business decision on his part. But again, in my opinion, accessories are things that you buy that are new, that would accessorize your car or pickup truck. Like he said, tinted windows or automatic starter, or I said mag wheels or whatever, or aluminum wheels, whatever they are nowadays. Or a toolbox to go on your pickup truck or something like that. It wouldn't be a starter off a junk car. That's not an accessory. That's kind of a necessity.
Well, that's kind of my concern, where they're filling in the back there with the wood chips. Like, Mr. Lesko said.
Yeah, that's another department, that's not the planning
Well, I
board.
don't know what's gonna happen with it, but I'd hate to see cars being put in there too.
They better not be, we gotta get them out.
And another thing, no, there's not gonna be any parking along the north side of that driveway, right? There'll be no parking spaces.
I think we established that last time.
Well, he turned in the same application as he turned in the last time that I have a copy of, and it shows some parking spaces on the north side.
No, that's.
No, you're talking about the colored plan. This is the one you're talking about? That's the question I asked.
This one has no parking spaces on that.
It's right next
The
to,
approved plan.
over by the building.
That's the original one, right? We don't have a colored one. We didn't
No.
get that.
That colored one was some sort of aerial photograph,
Right here, you're not, it ain't on by
satellite
the line.
photograph. And that's why I asked the question, is this the layout? And he
Wait,
said
no, over
no,
here.
Yeah.
that it's the same layout that was submitted back in 2011 that doesn't have parking there. And I think we included that in the
The last time.
in the special permit, but there'd be no parking along that north property line that's common with your residential lot, because the house is so close there.
But my concern is we're going for another permit, I was thinking, maybe things are gonna change.
Well,
And
that's,
right.
and I'm doing all the talking here, but that's why I asked the question about the number of vehicles, that we can limit it, and the Board of Selectmen, when they give him the Class 2 dealer's license, can also limit the number of vehicles, and it probably should be limited because it is a residential area.
I know, we got so much of this stuff crammed into one little spot, I don't see why we need it all.
Well,
You can go and buy a dump truck on the corner, and you can go up the road and get your lawnmower fixed.
but it's his own business,
Yeah.
and it's on Route
And
5,
it's
the state highway.
There's some pretty, these other people, it ain't gonna help their property values having this thing stuck in there.
Well, that may be why they're here to express their opinion.
Anyone else? Mr. Gahn?
Steve Gunn, 21 Lindsay Road. And we were here before, we went over some ground rules, some parameters within the permit. I will say that from my aspect, that the noise is not been a noise issue, from my personal aspect. I will say what's going on now, in there now, is that there's appliance repair and some carpentry going on in one bay. There's some other stuff, some vehicle work going on in another bay. So I would question if it's just some friends or if there's actually some rental out of property. That's obviously a different moot point. I will tell you that I've observed at least 50 tons of pellets dumped over the embankment, I think, and those have been delivered as late as 10 o'clock at night when there's trucks dumping in the back there. That's clear wetlands encroachment. A member of the Board of Selectmen identified that. I can't see how this permit should be granted at this time, knowing that there is a moderate to severe issue on the site. I think that needs to be dealt with. The fact there is a car for sale there, in fact, the town police chief drives by there every day. There's been a regular car for sale there, probably for a couple of weeks now, rotated 1 or 2 different vehicles. If that is, if in your eyes that's a concern, then I think that we should have the police chief in here to provide a report
This whole one
on
there.
that. And that's all. If that's not a concern of yours, then I would say we don't have to ask him to come in. But I think it's a simple question to ask. He drives by there 6 times a day.
Well, I don't know, is the chief of police is he the enforcer of the Class 2 dealer's license? I mean, anybody can have you could park a car in your yard, if you've got an extra vehicle.
Then if it's not an issue, then it's not an issue. I'm asking you if it's an issue.
Well, I would say, if that's a car he owns,
He can sell it.
the way you could park a car in your driveway, and a lot of people do, they park a car in front of their house and put a for sale sign on it. I've done it. I've had extra vehicles I put out there, and somebody comes along and buys it, and
If it's not an issue, it's not an issue. I'm just asking. You granted the initial permit, so.
It
If
depends.
you need a special permit, you can sell 1 or 2 cars. Ain't
Because-
nobody gonna complain about it.
yeah, you could, well, this is to sell more than 1 or 2 cars.
Well, I think he's gonna expand.
Because in order to, he needs a Class 2 dealer's license.
To do it.
If anybody here puts a car out in front of their house and sells it, it's to get rid of an extra vehicle, and they're not going to get another one there next week. If you are, then you better come here and get a Class 2 dealer's license. I mean, if he's got one there, it may be just a random thing, and maybe it's been there for weeks or months because nobody's bought it, but anybody has the right to sell one car in their driveway once in a while.
Right, but I think that the reason that we're here tonight is that the applicant is asking to actually set this up as a used car sales location and be able to sell used cars and have it, advertise it as such, as opposed to just having a car out in front of your house.
Exactly.
And so that's a significant change from what either you or I might do, or what maybe is happening right now with the car that's out there. So it is a residential neighborhood. I know we have a lot of pocket business zones in town to, in effect, memorialize old, business areas in the community, a lot of mixed use. In this case, this has become a decidedly residential area, and does this fit? I mean, that's the question. Does it fit with 2 or 3 cars, or will it fit with 10 or 12 or more, especially if it expands into whatever area parcel B2 might not be affected by the wetlands or have wetlands impact?
Any other discussion?
Are there any other neighbors that are here that want to speak or comment on this?
I guess not.
Richard Corson, 35 Lindsay Road. Well, I think any question I had might have been answered already, so.
And your house is directly across the street, is that correct? Okay,
Yeah.
just so we're get orientated right.
Just a quick question. You're gonna actually buy from auction or something like that?
The whole purpose of getting a used car license is so I can get licensed by the state. I have to get licensed by the town first to get a used car license, which I would have to go, obviously.
So that way you can go to auctions and pick it up?
Yes, right. And that way there, it would actually, what's that?
That's what...
That's the whole purpose of it.
That's what Jimmy did. He had a license at the time to buy and sell.
Correct, correct. And obviously it would generate tax income for the town. The way it is right now, if I sell my mother-in-law's old car out there, which I did, I admit it, that's a private sale. You can do 3 of those a year if they're in your own name in this state.
I'm Jim Bennett, I live at 34 Lindsay Road. A little earlier in the conversation, you mentioned a second-class dealer's license. At what time or point does that become required? I'm assuming that there isn't one in existence at this point. We're talking about numbers of cars sold on the property, and you mentioned the license. I'm just wondering, when does that kick in? When is it required?
The license granting authority can answer that.
That falls into when he files for an application to the Board of Selectmen. Then we have a public hearing on it and determine how many cars are going to be set for that specific property. So the first step is to get it zoned properly, and then the next step is to go and get the license.
Correct, and this is for unregistered vehicles, not registered vehicles. If I have 13 parking spots there, I can park 13 cars if I want, if they're registered. This is only a license for unregistered vehicles.
If the selectmen say that you can have 13 cars for sale there, yeah.
Oh, no. I'm just saying if I have, say I have 10 cars in there for sale, for work, they're not for sale. No, whatever you determine.
Employees.
Registered cars. Yeah, this is for unregistered cars.
I'd like to see a condition put, if this is granted, a condition put that any unlicensed unregistered cars go behind the fence and not in the open, keep it confined. Okay, because sometimes if you're working on cars, we have other problems that we're dealing with now, that they're out in front of the vehicle, like a soil dump, they're out in front of the building, hoods around, engines are exposed, that kind of stuff. So I'd like to see some kind of a condition that is put on if the permit is granted, that any cars that are in the process of being repaired go behind the fence area, so they can't be seen by the public.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I take a ride around town, I see the repair shops, I see what's going on.
No problem.
I told everybody I'm not gonna do that. I told everybody what I was gonna do. I've done that. And, you know, I got 3 cars in for repair and I'm waiting for an engine or whatever, then we push it out, put it behind the fence, as long as it's not leaking. You know? No,
Yeah,
I'm not-
I would agree with that, you know, having a condition, you know, for that, as Ed mentioned, Paul.
Any other comments from the floor, neighbors? For or against?
About the committee again? No? About us?
I'm going to open it up to us now.
Well, I think we should condition this.
Yeah, I agree.
Bob asked about area lighting. I think we should put that there be no area lighting. I'm not sure what's there for area lighting now. What is it, just a few spots or something?
Yeah, like there's some safety lights. What I was thinking of more was pole lighting.
I understand, yeah, I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about. I want to restrict it so that or condition the permit so we don't have those big
Right.
area lights. However, he should have some lights there for safety and security without
Glare.
without glare and without causing a nuisance, a light nuisance.
There is a street light opposite that piece of property that lights up that whole area very good right now. Because I see the cars going in and out of that place all hours of the night. What they're doing, I don't know, but there's a lot of cars in and out of there.
Mr. Chairman? You got it to us, or you're back there again?
Yeah. Anybody else? Any more comments? Are you saying that there's midnight auto sales going on or midnight auto repair?
Cars pull in there, some of them stay for a few minutes, they leave, some of them are just turning around, some of them back up and stay for a few minutes, there's all kinds of action.
Can you give me or give the board like time frames? Is this 9 o'clock, 9, 10 o'clock, midnight?
Yeah, about 10:30, there's cars in and out of there at 10:30.
Could you address that, Mr. Labby?
Yeah, it's a public street. It's a huge area. People pull in, they text. I'm there all the time. I see people just pull in and walk out. You all set? Yeah, just using texting. But it's nothing to do with me. As far as if somebody was there dumping chips at 10 o'clock, you know, I apologize for that. That's going to stop anyway today. And again, I thought I did my due diligence, and I thought it was, like I said, nothing more than a tree dropping in the brook. So, but you clarified that for me. So.
And you also had stated earlier, no additional lighting and no additional signage. So you're not planning up, just for the clarification, you're not going to put up Labby's used car sign?
Again, that would have to go through the building inspector, right?
Yeah.
And the signage is very limited out there. I think you can only be a 12 by 16 or something.
Wow.
I would like to put a sign on the building that says, yeah. Can it be this big? I promise it won't be near.
That's no trespassing.
Well, I think what Mr. Dostal is trying to establish is
Not
there going to be the
No, I'm sorry, I was just being...
Burke the Burke Chevrolet sign or whatever they are now, Burke Cadillac sign out there, whether it's flashing or not, it's still a big sign.
Actually, I have a lot of Chevrolet signs still.
I'm sure there's some around, yes. I guess
No.
you need a sign because you need people to be able to find you so they're not wandering the neighborhood looking for you. Not that they would necessarily, but we can also limit the number of signs because it's a special permit. We can condition that, the number and size and whether they're backlit or neon lit or or that, and, I mean, you need to give us some kind of idea on what you intend to do there, and,
If I'm allowed a permit, and I'm allowed, say, 4 cars, whatever the number ends up being, where the cars are parked along this edge here, I would like to put up a 3x2 sign, just painted. There's a tree right here, and I put it right by the tree indiscreetly, so it's not gonna be, you know, any kind of, it's just gonna be a painted sign that says, you know, here's where you can buy your $5,000 card.
it's gonna say Labby, what is it, Labby Auto Sales?
Sales and service.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
are we going to be able to speak?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I would suggest that we delay this vote until we get the clearance from the conservation about dumping. He's got a violation. That sounds big. I don't know what it is. I haven't been out there.
Yep.
And if you're dumping in the wetlands, I don't think we should vote on it tonight until that's cleared up.
Okay.
That's the way I feel.
Any other thoughts?
I guess that makes sense. I wasn't aware of any dumping going on out there either. Although it's not our jurisdiction, I think the conservation should.
I
deal
say
with
until
that.
they give you an okay. Is anything going over that bank with the conservation, because I'm on the conservation, it's going to have to be straightened out. But I don't even know what's there, because I don't stick my nose into anybody else's business until I need to.
I have a general question, though. When we were on the planning board before, we used to get like notifications from the different boards, like conservation, and do we get that anymore, or did that change?
We notify,
Notify them.
Yeah, but, you know, I'm just wondering, you know, to avoid this in the future.
conservation may not be aware of what's going on out
Be
there.
aware, I don't know.
and Therefore didn't respond.
Didn't respond.
I'm on the committee, but I didn't hear anything about it.
Didn't we at one time, though, they would respond anyway, saying we
Yes, yes.
we had no problem?
It either pertains or it doesn't.
Right.
Well,
But
I mean, I don't know, you know, we used to get them all, I remember.
yeah, but you see, the way it is now, if they don't respond in 30 days, then we assume
Okay.
then it's okay.
that they don't have any problems or any concern
But we,
with the applicant
but
or
we
with
don't
the
know
application.
if they didn't respond in the 30 days, I mean, I guess it's
Yeah.
sort of a moot point, but I mean, I would like to know
The
because
no
I
news
have
is
no
good
idea.
news thing.
You know,
Any other discussion?
Well, I guess based on Mr. Bardwell's
He's making, you're making a motion.
concern,
Yeah, I'm making a motion.
well, I'll second it, and
Now you got discussion.
I think we should continue this hearing until, I mean, we don't have a definite date until
We hear back.
we hear back from the planning board.
The Conservation Commission.
Yeah, Conservation Commission. Let me point out, though, that the applicant has to agree to the continuation. Again, we don't have a date because we don't know when the conservation is meeting and what action they're going to take.
Well, could we
We got to meet pretty quick.
delay it until next month, October 2nd, pending notification from the Conservation Committee, until a decision or a letter or whatever.
Yeah, saying that it's all right, that
saying
nothing's
it's,
happened.
No, this stuff has to be removed, or yes, it's okay that it's there, it's not infringing on the wetlands. But I think, in light of these facts, I think that
Should be investigated.
this would be in the best interest of the town to delay this meeting until Conservation Committee
Yep. Okay.
takes a look at this property and says, yes, there's a violation, or no, there's not a violation.
Right.
You agree to the continuation till October,
Second.
Second.
is it 2nd? October 2nd?
What is there, well, I understand your concerns. I personally feel it's two different things. Again, this was just brought to my attention. It's going to cease and desist, and I'll do whatever they need to do. If that's what you feel is best interest, and sure. Yeah, we'll wait.
Okay, so you agree to the continuation of October 2nd?
Yep.
Yeah, we'll make it 7:30. Right now, we don't have anything else on the agenda. Correct?
Right.
Yeah.
But that would, if they have time. Right.
Right.
I don't even know who I got.
I don't know who the
They
chairman
have a meeting tomorrow night. If you wanted to put something in writing in front of them, that might be good. Corey, you would know it's better than I.
I just looked it up, I didn't even see them.
Well, no, they have a meeting tomorrow night, but
Conservation.
it's something, you're not going to be here tomorrow night. So could you email something over to me?
Sure.
And I could make sure that the conservation people get to see it, they could be aware. They probably won't be meeting again until October 3rd. Unless they have a special meeting in between.
Well, we can notify them to go do it, that's all.
Well, someone would have to go out and inspect the site,
And that would give them a heads up,
right?
Yeah.
you know, so they would have a chance to do their homework.
Okay.
I can give you my email.
I have it.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so this public hearing is continued to October 2nd at 7:30 p.m.
So I don't have to do anything else except contact the conservation if they.
That's
approve-
right,
if they
it's
approve it, they'll
continued.
come back and-
The hearing is continued, we don't have to
Okay.
do anything else. Everybody that's concerned is notified, there's these folks that, they know that we're going to meet again on October 2nd on it. If
Okay.
they can come back again at that time and
Okay.
reiterate their opinion.
There is a 5.9 in here regarding the signs, size of the signage
Okay.
that you can have, if you have a copy of this.
Yeah.
It's, 5.9 signs.
Do you think since he's coming back, you probably should have like a definitive on what kind of a sign he's gonna have, just so,
Yeah.
if you could just bring something maybe. So we have an idea what the sign's gonna be since you have to come back.
Size and everything.
Size and stuff, just so we'll know.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. This is over, huh?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Verizon. Is it Verizon?
There he
Bell
is.
Atlantic. Public
Again.
hearing will be held by the Hatfield Planning Board in Memorial Town Hall, 59 Main Street, Hatfield, Massachusetts, on September 4th, 2013, at 8:30 PM on an application filed by Bell Atlantic Mobile of Massachusetts Corporation Limited, DBA Verizon Wireless, property owned by Brockway Smith Company, 125 Chestnut Street, Hatfield, Massachusetts, for the premises at 125 Chestnut Street, Hatfield, Massachusetts, Assessors Map 220, Lot 146, currently zoned industrial, for the purpose of replacing 2 of the existing antenna panels with 2 upgraded antenna panels of the very similar size and design. The substituted antenna panels will be installed in the same location as the antennas they will replace, in accordance with Section 3.0 Use Regulations, subsection 4.23, wireless communication facilities set forth by the zoning bylaws. Good evening.
Can you explain what's going on?
Sure.
I think I got an idea of
Yeah.
this, just for the public record.
My name is Attorney Michael Fenton of Schatz, Schwartz and Fenton. Our offices are at 1441 Main Street in Springfield. I'm here on behalf of Bell Atlantic Mobile of Massachusetts Corporation, doing business as Verizon Wireless. The proposed site is, as you indicated, 125, 127 Chestnut Street. The landowner is Brockway Smith Company, and the tower owner is American Tower. The site has an existing 190-foot tower that stands 198 feet tall if you include the lightning rod. Verizon currently has 12 antennas at the location, approximately 105 feet in height from the base of the tower. Our application this evening is to replace 2 of those antennas with 2 new and more sophisticated antennas for the purposes of increasing service and data coverage in the town. The parcel is in an industrial district, and we have complied with all the applicable aspects of the zoning bylaw for purposes of this application.
So the tower won't be any higher than it is right now?
No. No, sir.
So the footprint will not change, it's just you're swapping out some panels that
Footprint
are...
is going to change on the bottom.
We have 12. We're switching 2 of them, taking 2 down and replacing them with 2 new ones.
When you say 2, they're 2 of the panels, not 2 of the arrays. For the lack of a better term, it appears as though there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 arrays of antennas shown in this. There's a,
well,
you guys see across there.
no, it is actually the antenna panels. I hesitate.
It's the vertical piece.
Yes.
It's not this triangular, under antenna mounting plan, I would call that an array, because it appears as though there are 4 antennas on each of the 3 sides of the triangular array.
Yes, that would be correct.
That's my own term, array. So you're changing 2 of the verticals, or you're changing 2 of the arrays?
We're changing 2 of the verticals. There
Okay.
are 12 vertical antennas.
Okay.
We're changing 2.
So to the average guy driving by, he wouldn't know the difference between the old arrays and the new arrays.
If you could even see it at that height on the tower. We are very low on the tower as compared to everybody else.
That's the point I'm trying to make, you know? Never ask a question you don't know the answer to already. Law School 101, not that I'm a lawyer. I just wanted to bring that out. Okay.
$300 to the town every time you come back. Now, I know why the fees are so high. Anyway, that's good.
They didn't charge you?
Sure.
Any discussion from the floor?
Keeps going up.
Discussion on the board?
Well, I would make a motion that we grant the special permit as submitted.
Second it.
It's also a site plan approval.
A site plan approval. Okay. I would make a, let me amend the motion. I'd make a motion that we approve the site plan and grant the special permit as submitted.
We have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Unanimous.
Motion carries.
Again, there's a 20-day appeal period on the special permit. I doubt it's going to be appealed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do we not need to sign these
Well,
plans?
yeah, we need to sign all these plans, but, I don't know, when's our
Wanna
next,
do it later?
9 o'clock? Yeah, we'll do it later, and you'll,
Yeah.
yeah, you'll have to pick them up later. You'll have to pick up a certificate of no appeal at some point in time anyway, so we'll get these signed off before that. Yeah, I'm going to pass this on to the chairman. I just do a lot of talking, I'm not the chairman.
So,
You want these
I'll have
maps?
to stamp them and sign
You
them.
want to stamp these maps?
Why don't you just send them back to me and we can stamp
we're kind of
them?
running behind, we could stamp and sign them after.
We're not running behind, we're right on schedule.
Well, we're still on schedule. 9 o'clock's on this next
9
hearing.
o'clock we got to.
We have a couple
There.
in between.
Yeah, we got some in-between stuff to take care of.
Home Street Meadows.
So that's John's, I'll have to look at that.
We'll get it taken care of in due time. Thank you.
It's in his map down.
Bob, can we have your map? Yep.
If we got
Patty
a
Holdridge.
we got an A&R, and we got Richie Thayer. Richie Thayer's here. Maybe we should talk to him.
Oh, the stamp.
You don't have my file there.
We
Oh,
get
the
a,
stamp.
What do you want?
I
Holdridge?
don't know if that's Holich down there. The plans, are those Holich's A&R plans?
Yeah, what do you want?
Holdridge.
is he here? Mr. Holich here?
No.
Representative.
No, there's some-
My name is Emily Holmberg. Holmberg and Howell, we were the surveyors who prepared the plan.
I was wondering who you were.
And actually, as a matter of note, the plans were actually submitted on August 8th, so the 21 days has expired.
Well, we
So-
don't meet in this.
Oh,
Meet in July and August.
That,
What do you want?
one of the plans. That's that.
So what do we,
200 feet of frontage, 69,000 square feet. I think we're going to have 60,000
Yeah, this is all the thing here,
square feet.
that's a 60.
right? It's his kids.
I know that.
Entry Road.
and 200 feet of frontage.
Yeah, there's 200.
Yeah.
90.81 plus
Yeah.
109.19, exactly 200.
But this is a different lot, or was that part of it?
Oh,
Or was this existing?
Yeah, what are these lots here? I guess is the question. Are these existing lots?
These are all part of, okay.
Odette's, okay. Okay.
So what is he adding on to that, Bob?
Pardon me?
What part is he adding on here?
This one here.
Oh,
Right
he's
here,
cutting,
that's
he's
the
cutting
one with
Lot
the
A
dark
out.
lines there.
Right, lot A is the lot, he's pretty.
This one, there's a house on it already.
Oh, okay. And this
This
is
is Marty's old house here,
Emily,
where Lesko lives.
Yeah. This is where the electrician lives.
Yeah, over here. Must be here.
What street is it? Oh, this is Pantry Road, okay. all
Yeah.
right.
Pantry Road. Over here is,
So this
Mountain
was his entire lot here?
that's all his.
All his, right. So he's taking this part.
Kind of wet, yeah.
Well, it's, actually, it's entitled on
Yeah, this,
his.
I'm the treasurer, so it's in tax title, the whole parcel, so.
Well, I would make a motion that we approve the plan under A&R based on the area it's within the zoning requirements for area and frontage.
200 feet of frontage and
Yeah.
over 45,000 square feet.
I think it's gotta be
Over
60,
60
over
in
60
that,
out
in
there.
that zone.
That's exactly 200.
We have a motion to approve the plan as submitted, the A&R plan.
So moved.
We have a second. All
Second.
those in favor?
Aye.
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 We need the black pen again, I guess. Got a black pen.
It's gonna be a hard one to get by on the conservation.
here to request tonight that we get a change of use on a piece of property that I presently own on West Street at the intersection of Plain Road and West Street. I have an approval there already from the planning board to put a restaurant there. Due to the economy, that's not going to happen. So these gentlemen here from Southland Homes would like to put a model log home there, and that's what we're here to request, to change the use. This gentleman right here is Ken Seckley. He's president and CEO of Southland Log Homes, and he has some information here on what he wants to do.
I can just, I've got the full-size drawings of the previous approved site plan for Mr. Thayer's restaurant. This is actually the proposed, this is the previously approved one. I've got smaller copies for everyone. So in any case, this is the one that had been previously approved by the planning board. And here's just a small version of it. But that's the full size right there. And then the model log home that we would propose for this site instead actually fits within the footprint of the previously proposed one. That's this one right here. It's a little bit more magnified in this drawing, so it may look a little bigger, but it actually fits entirely within the footprint of what had been previously approved. And so the structure is smaller, and there's about half the number of parking spaces versus what had previously been approved. And then this is just a photo of the model that would go there.
So this is a little bit like the model home that's up a little further on the Whately-Hatfield line, there on the right hand, as you're heading north on the right-hand side there by the hot dog place.
I would say, yeah.
Yeah, where there's a model home on the right there, and I guess people can come in and see it as a display of what they might purchase and
It's
have
a
built.
tangible display. What our company does is we provide the designs, which are often based upon one of our stock standard designs, but almost always they get customized. And then we precision mill the logs that go into the package. And then what we do is we work with local builders, contractors, and other businesses to actually construct the home for those customers in this area, or in areas that people would want to access from here, whether it's in Vermont or New York or wherever it might be.
So consumers would come here to see the site, to see the building in the flesh.
See the model.
And then talk with a sales agent or someone about possibly.
This is Bill Clark. He's our regional manager for the northeastern U.S. and he's just relocated to Amherst. So he'll be based here, although his geography extends through much of the northeastern U.S. right now. And so he doesn't actually live in the model home. He'll be
That's his office.
He'll be showing it. And we anticipate we would have 2 or 3 employees there. Typical customer traffic is relatively light, perhaps 3 to 5 weekdays, then 5 to 10 on a Saturday, and limited hours on Sunday.
Well, given the traffic pattern of something like this compared to a restaurant, it would significantly reduce the cars coming in and out on this road, particularly across, if I have it correctly, not far from the C&S truck entrance, right?
Correct.
Right across the street.
Yeah, so a lot less opportunity for a kerfuffle there between trucks and patrons at a restaurant.
And the curb cuts are in place. I think the analysis was done with the curb cuts that they accommodated the heavier traffic load of the restaurant, and we're going to be much less than that, of course, as you just pointed out.
So you're here to determine what the next step is to change the use?
Correct.
Okay. I guess my question is, this is going to be a sales office with maybe some design guys there that'll help the customer work out some of the details on their...
It'll be furnished and styled as a residential home, but yeah, it'll be essentially a sales office with exactly the function you described.
So what does this fall? That's, we have to, I think we have to shoehorn it in somewhere. 4.18 is a professional, medical, and business office and services. Less than 15,000 square feet.
How many square feet is this approximately?
1791.
1791?
1791, so less than 2,000.
So it's certainly less than 15,000 feet. It's not medical, but it is a business office, and the fact that you're conducting business there.
Oh, that says motel. I thought it said bottle. That would be too simple, huh?
Not a lodging house. Package store, breakfast room, something.
And the business, its own business, is that?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that would require SPR, which is, I always have to look it up.
Special
SPR is
site plan review.
site plan review.
He's got his parking. He's got his building.
Under 4.18, I guess.
I don't, does anybody else have a different opinion of that?
No,
No,
I think that's the only way we could shoehorn it in, because again, it is a business office.
Have you ever had a circumstance where, after you've, say, decided to move out of this area, that you actually sell this as a business office, or these models have a secondary use after they've outlived their usefulness for you?
In a small number of our models, most of our models continue to be sales models. We have 15 others throughout the U.S. And I can think of one other example because of a change in development around the model. It now functions as a dentist's office.
And I don't see why this couldn't.
No, that's my point. I mean,
Yeah.
just as you were saying, is we should be thinking about what it might become, and and given the location, it's if it remains as an office.
Become a restaurant as well.
Or it could become a restaurant, yeah.
Are there, where's the next closest?
Fredericksburg, Virginia.
Oh.
So this would be the only one in the Northeast with your company?
That's correct.
Just out of curiosity, where's your plant?
Just outside of Columbia, South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
We had one just outside of Roanoke, Virginia, but in the downturn, that plant was shut down, but we would look to locate new builds as we expanded. Right now, we've got plenty of capacity in Columbia.
So you're using southern pine as opposed to good solid Northeast hardwoods, huh?
We're using
Easy on the termites.
species. Generally not hardwoods, but we'll work with what customers want to use. Predominantly southern yellow pine, but quite a bit of eastern white pine as well from Pennsylvania and Virginia and North Carolina.
Well, again, my opinion is that it falls under 418, and they need to apply for site plan review.
I agree that 4.18 is professional, medical, and business office services under 15,000 square feet. And it is a site plan review. Anybody else?
don't make a motion if you got it pinned down.
You would have to get on the schedule for next month.
Yeah, you have to apply for
Apply
site plan
with a-
review.
With a site plan review.
That's all.
That's all, site plan review from the planning board.
So that would be the formal application?
Yes.
Along with the set of drawings such as...
Yeah.
Yeah, bring all this stuff back.
Bring it all back.
Okay.
We'll give it all back to you, as a matter of fact.
Would you like any of this stuff here? We can reproduce any of it, so...
No, I think I bring it, submit it with the application. You're gonna have to submit a whole bunch of paper with that application. So.
Save the trees for the building.
And is that,
with applications downstairs?
October 2nd.
Yes.
Is that our next meeting?
You can see Wilma. Wilma will,
You want to see the town?
October 2nd is our next one. You have to.
She will be in next week. So she won't be here tomorrow or Friday.
yeah, that has to go through the town clerk. She has to clock it in.
Either Monday or Tuesday. Monday?
No, she's here Mondays.
She'll be back Monday?
September 9th.
And we do need 30 days between when that application comes through, so the sooner the better.
Well, we'll have it Monday.
Gonna make it
She's
through.
here Monday, we'll pick one up.
But
but we can be on the agenda for the next meeting, or
Well, it'd have to be a special, I guess.
Well,
We meet the first Wednesdays of the month.
so we're not gonna meet, we're not gonna have 30 days.
Not gonna have 30 days for the next one because it's
I
the
guess,
4th
Michael, do
already.
we need the 30-day notice for site plan review?
well,
Or that's our
unless
procedure?
we should have 30 days. That's what the
Time you
bylaw
get the
calls
notices
for.
in.
Okay.
Unless you folks want to waive a couple days on it. Can you
What
do
have we done in
that?
the past?
I don't know.
Have we-
Have another meeting partway through the month.
Yeah.
There'll be snow by then. We can have another meeting.
I think it's a good project, and it's a
Yeah.
nice-looking building. It's
Yeah.
a good use for that site.
Given the overall impact that this will have compared to what the restaurant is, it seems like it would be a reasonable and appropriate substitution.
Well, I would say get the application in, and I'd like to see us expedite it for these guys. I mean, we have to follow within timelines, but we don't want to stretch you out into November, because I'm sure you want to start digging and pouring concrete, so I think we should meet the middle of October.
I have no problem with that.
And get it done for these guys.
We'll have 2 meetings.
well, we greatly appreciate that. And we'll be sure to expedite that application as soon as we get our hands on it.
Okay.
Very good.
16th.
Thank you.
What date did you come up?
Probably tentative the 16th of October.
Yeah.
That would give us the 30 days, time to put the ad in the paper and all that other kind of stuff.
Well, we have to notify the other boards in town. We have to give them 30
notification.
days to respond, whether they have any issues with it, and
Well, it's going to be the 9th, so you got to get 30 days from there.
Yeah, the 9th or the 16th.
yeah, I'm not going to be here the 16th, so.
How about everybody else? You can still do it with 4, right?
16th as well.
Yeah, you can still do it with 4, you could
I'll
do
be
it
here
with
on the
3 on site
16th.
plan review.
How about you, Greg? 16th?
Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah, I'll be here.
Okay, so we'll plan for the 16th. That'll give us 30 days,
Wednesday, October 16th.
7:30.
We get the application in.
As long as you get everything in.
Yeah, well, we'll have it in. I'll get that in.
Okay.
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 And I'll be in touch with you anyway, with regard to legal notice and all that.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
10 minutes late. 9 o'clock.
So everybody signed in? You folks sign in? There's a sign-in sheet.
Evening.
Has everyone signed in, the sign-in sheet? I guess they're signing in now.
Oh, whole neighborhood here.
Wow.
Yeah, there's more chairs. If you need more chairs, there's more chairs in the pile there. Stacked. Public hearing will be held by the Hatfield Planning Board in Memorial Town Hall, 59 Main Street, Hatfield, Massachusetts, on September 4th, 2013, at 9:00 p.m. on 2 applications filed by Northeast Enterprises LLC, care of Charles Bowles, 237 Main Street, Northampton, Massachusetts, 01060. Property owned by Northeast Enterprises Realty Partnership, 237 Main Street, Northampton, Mass. For the premises at Elm Street, Hatfield, Mass. Assessors map 223, lot 26, currently zoned rural residential, proposed to be subdivided into 2 lots, with each parcel to accommodate a 6-unit townhouse structure for a total of 12 units for the 2 lots, in accordance with Section 3.0 use regulations, subsection 1.13, multiple family dwelling / townhouse set forth by the zoning bylaws.
We stop rustling some paperwork there.
The bigger table.
Give us an explanation of what you're proposing to the board and the community.
My name is Rick Klein. I'm a partner with the Berkshire Design Group in Northampton, and representing Mr. Bowles, who's here tonight. As you all know, we've been here a number of times with you. Maybe I should stand here so that you can all see. And as the board knows, we presented a number of different schemes as ideas for the lots, and had conversations with you. The plan that we've chosen to present to you for approval is one that conforms to the Hatfield zoning bylaws, special permit site plan review. Sorry. Where we subdivide the parcel into 2 lots. The red line on the plan conforms to lot 1 and lot 2. And then, as per the zoning bylaw, line for multifamily up to 6 units per lot, having 6 units here and 6 units here, trying to achieve the village concept that we had talked to you about before. The plan that we had shown you before with the housing is still the idea that we're presenting for people to see. And the way that it's going to work, as proposed, is to have a 20-foot wide 2-way road come in to this point here. And then at this point, the road actually splits and is 18 feet wide one way, 18 feet wide this way, back to the 20-foot wide road here. And then for a secondary means of egress for emergency vehicles at this point here, to have the existing farm road that goes in by the barn continue past the barn in a TRG format as an emergency vehicle access as a secondary road. But try to keep it in TRG so it looks like an old farm road. Doesn't feel like the primary road, and yet at the same time functions for emergency services. The units themselves are townhouses that look like the photo down through there. It's 300 feet from the street to the backs of these townhouses. And then the proposal is to keep the front of the lot in agriculture, then have a row of fruit trees or those size trees as a screen for the backyards of these. So when people would drive by on Elm Street, they would pretty much see a road, but they'd also see the agriculture in the old farm. And then they'd see some fruit trees, and then behind the fruit trees there would be this village. We believe it conforms to all of the aspects of the Hatfield zoning bylaw.
Paul, can I ask a couple questions? So you're not proposing this as a 55 and over, it's just straight townhouse development?
That's correct.
Okay, and the road, do you envision it, I see reference in the proposal that it'll be a it's mentioned as a private road. You anticipate it remaining as a private road or eventually being picked up by the town?
We envision it as a private road.
So there'd be a condominium association that would maintain and plow the road as well as the emergency egress road?
Yes.
These are rental units, right?
No,
No, these are for sale.
primary homes.
So they're condominium units,
Yes,
and thus a homeowners association.
correct.
And I guess rather than call it a road, I'd call it a common driveway, because it is a common driveway, and it's actually across the people that live in the back lot have to cross the folks' front lot here, so. Is it two associations? Is that how, it's gonna be one association for the
whole thing.
Okay.
And you refer to them as multi-family, but they appear, at least in the drawing, to be separate. I mean, in effect, to the uninitiated, they look like single-family homes.
They are joined by party walls, but the intent is to have them feel like single family.
Okay.
Some of that's by your zoning, I mean, they have to be connected.
Right,
so.
right.
But they're connected by 2-car garages between each one of them.
Towards the backs of the lots.
Correct.
So to the front of the lot, you have
It looks just like that.
like
right?
that, with a porch and
Correct.
sort of like the smaller cottage-type houses that we have in town.
Exactly.
Will people choose from models, or will they, because I see a Queen Anne's unit, or you're going to set them up and then?
No, there's going to be basically 2 styles. One is a farmhouse style, which is typical to Hatfield, and the second is a bungalow style, which I think is in your plans along with the floor plans. But they both have master bedrooms on the first floor to accommodate us people getting older, and full basements and private backyards for patios, etc.
And then this common sort of area in between the roads, the in and the out.
I never learned to figure that out. How many square feet is a typical house?
They average between 1780 and 1850.
That include the garage or the housing?
That's just the living area.
Thank you.
Thanks, Corey.
So all the utilities, the water, the sewer, the storm drainage is all maintained by the condominium association?
Correct.
Okay. The water department wrote us a letter expressing concern. How are they going to, I mean, if there's an emergency, they need to shut water off, how are they going to do that? I think that's something that the association needs to work out with the water department. If in fact they want to be allowed on private property, or if, say, a pipe burst in one of the units and the water needs to be shut off at the curb, which is out here, here's where your curb stops are. Who's going to do that?
Each of these units will have an independent meter.
Yes, I see that.
Okay.
So, yeah, and that's another issue. They need to read the water meters. You have a 2-inch water service.
Correct.
That's for domestic and sprinkler water. Okay. If there's a burst pipe in the house and the valve in the cellar doesn't work, who's going to shut it off at the curb? Do you call your maintenance guy, or do you call the water department? Right now, if you lived in a single-family home on a single lot, you call the water department and say, I can't shut my water off, come turn it off for me, and they come turn it off. Because that curb stop is on public property, it's on the town layout, but all this stuff is on private property. So, and the reason why it came, because it was an issue with Hatfield Village, farther down Elm Street, because they also need to read water meters in order to charge for the water and the sewer. So I guess you have to work out, the condominium association, has to somehow give the water department permission to read meters. I would assume they need that unless there's some state law that says they can do that automatically.
They can, but, I mean, that would be if your concern was that they have to have permission, then I guess you could make it as a
Something needs to
condition.
be, there needs to be a plan on how the water gets shut off to each individual unit in case of an emergency situation.
What about, same with electricity?
Well, I guess it does. I don't know. The power company may have an easement already in order to be able to, because they can pull the meter if you don't pay the bill. But pardon me?
The power company has an easement, John, and we're happy to give the water department an easement as well.
Yes, but the water department does not want to maintain the services and the main coming in. And I see there's a hydrant down at the end of the line. They don't want to maintain it, but they want to
Have access,
I guess, because in addition to shutting water off in an emergency, they need to flush hydrants as well. They do that in the spring in order to
That's why we put the hydrant at the end.
get all the junk out of the line.
Right.
So that's a detail that needs to be worked out with the water department. Also with this the other Elm Street project, there was 2 numbering systems that got everybody confused, and so
How was the water resolved?
I don't know. I don't know if it was ever resolved. I guess it's very confusing for the water superintendent when he gets a call to either turn water on because they built a new unit or turn it off because they need to do something, or even reading meters. He has one system, and apparently the developer used another numbering system or changed it part way, so nobody ever knows where they are.
Yeah, I haven't met with the postmaster yet, because they're the ones that ultimately determine the numbering.
Well, the building inspector determines a numbering system. That raises another question. How is this going to be numbered? Is it going to be, one unit is going to be, I don't know what the number.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Well, we have 27 to 41 is what we're working with.
Okay, so those are the numbers if they were on the street.
Yes.
Those are the numbers that are assigned to that area of land. So, would you number one unit 30, A, B, C, D?
Well, that'd be an odd number because we're on the odd side of the street.
Okay, I'm sorry.
27.
31.
31.
29, 31, 33, 35, 37, and then that's it.
Okay,
39.
so, okay, getting back to, so is this building going to be, say, 31, and this building 41, A, B, C, D, E, F, G?
They're going to be actually consecutively numbered individual units,
Okay.
starting at 31.
So, we will know where, at some point in time, we will know where 31 Elm Street is, where 33 Elm Street is, where 35 Elm Street.
They'll all have house numbers as per
Okay.
911.
Okay, because that works for, yeah, that emergency services needs to know where to go. Take care of,
Going back to your point on the water department, I'm sure Mr. Bowles is happy to do whatever the water department would like. That's the way to do it.
well, I'm just making a point that it needs to be addressed early.
That's fine.
If this is approved, it needs to be addressed
Well,
early.
every town does that different, you know, whether it's,
I know, and I don't know what the plan would be, but the water department superintendent expressed concern that things got all messed up down on Elm Street. So now you have to toe the mark. You have to establish and work out those details with the water department so that they can maintain the system or do something in an emergency, read the meters, get the bills to the right people. Sewer department also has to get the bills to the right people because the sewer bill is based on water usage. And emergency services should have the right address as well when somebody needs something. So that's a detail that needs to be worked out early in the process so that everybody's on the same page now and forever, because it got changed on the other one. So
What kind of heat is going to be in here? Heat. Central what? Gas, oil?
Gas.
Propane or natural gas?
Natural gas.
yeah, there's natural in the street.
Can you talk a little bit about, you've got sort of a setback here with the woods that backs up at the far end of the property, and then you talk about this agricultural hayfield and the agricultural nature of the property, which it is currently with the barn and this open land. How do you envision that?
Maintained?
Yeah.
Well, the land up front, I'd like to see stay as it is, you know, as either hay or corn or agricultural. And that will be a condition I set with the association. The barn that's up front is in the historic district, and Ms. Parada spent a lot of time preserving it. That'll stay as is.
And who will own that? Who's going to manage
The
that?
association.
They will. And so they'll use it as a community center, or is it just?
Storage or, yeah, yet to be determined.
Okay. But they're going to maintain it so that it doesn't become a hazard or whatever in terms of falling down or whatever.
Correct.
And you said it's 300 feet from
The road to the back of the.
back of the houses. So the crab apple trees or fruit trees are going to be within that
Buffer.
buffer.
Yeah, those are a buffer, both
Okay.
for the neighbors as well as for the people buying these units.
Mhm.
About 240 feet to the line of trees.
To the trees. Okay.
Any questions from the floor?
Yeah, I got a question on the amount of frontage on each of the houses. Are they gonna be 200-foot frontage like required now?
No.
If they're not, does that fall into a cluster zoning issue?
It's each lot, it's 2 lots. They're going to create 2 lots. Each one is going to have at least 200 feet of frontage, and this is a multifamily. So this is a 6-unit townhouse on a lot. It just happens to be 2 lots together with identical structures that create kind of a village.
Well, right now, our present zoning bylaws state that you need 200-foot frontage per
No.
building.
No.
Not for multifamily.
Not for multifamily.
Not for multifamily.
A good example is 5 Elm Street, right across from the Legion.
Okay, but if it's
That's a
also-
4-family on 1 lot.
If the houses, the way I'm reading it is if the houses are connected, like if they had 6 in a row connected together, that would be a housing development, which would fall into that.
Oh, it's a multifamily, it's a townhouse. It's addressed under 1.13, multifamily dwelling / townhouse, 3 to 6 dwelling units in the rural residential zone requires site plan review. I'm sorry, special permit.
Special permit.
So it's a multifamily. I see the fire chief here, and I have a question. Do you know where the hydrant is on this project? Are you okay with, the hydrant is, would you point the hydrant out for the fire
We've
chief?
actually met with the chief.
Oh, you did?
He's
Okay.
actually seen this plan. and
Okay.
Actually suggested the hydrant location.
Okay.
And we checked out the.
I just thought you'd be driving by the fire to get to the hydrant to fight the fire behind you, but.
Well, there's a hydrant.
There's one here on the street.
There's another one, okay, okay.
One right here also, actually.
So there's 3 hydrants and there's enough room in there for you to maneuver your equipment.
Yeah, right. We checked it.
We put the hydrant at the end for your earlier comment for blow off.
I still don't see the other hydrant here.
It's on the street. There's only 2 hydrants.
There's only 2 hydrants.
One on the street and one there.
Oh, one on Elm Street
That's correct.
and
Yeah.
one here,
Which is
okay.
directly across from.
Okay.
the entry.
Okay.
And they meet the 400-foot.
I understand why it's on the end, to flush the system,
Yes.
but I just thought maybe the fire department was driving by the house fire to get to the hydrant to connect, to put water on the.
Well, they would use the street one if
Okay,
if it was
okay.
in the former end.
Yep, I understand now.
And we did check the turning radii and all of that for the trucks and after
They can get around that corner.
that. That's why there's
Yeah.
that little leg at the end, right here.
That's pretty wide, by the way. That's 36 feet, plus the median in the middle is 24 feet wide.
Okay,
Goes
that,
18 feet around.
for emergency vehicles to turn around to get back out again. Okay.
Someone else had a question? Any other comments, questions? Yes.
I'm the abutter on 27 Elm, and my only concern is...
State your name, Mrs. Lamprey, for the record. I know your name, but the secretary, the lady taking...
And my only concern is the emergency road. I have no problems with them having an emergency road there, but what's going to stop that from being a shortcut or a bike path or anything else? That's my only concern.
Okay. Does somebody, one of the applicant, want to address that?
Well, I met with Ms. Lambert about this, and I said, I'm only doing that road because it's the request of both this board and the fire department to have a second egress. What I agreed to do is sign it as emergency vehicle use only, both ends, because it's a TRG or gravel, which will be maintained year-round, but to make it as an emergency road. I don't see any of the people that live there wanting to go on a gravel road when they have a paved road to get out. But, you know, her concern was kids coming in there and parking behind the barn or something.
We've had that years ago.
Well, somebody's got to...
They're probably doing that already.
No.
Do you Mrs. Lamprey, do you understand the purpose of the emergency road?
Yes.
It's in case one of the emergency vehicles breaks down on the main road and the other fire truck can't get in, they need another way to get in there. That's the purpose of it. Because it's a dead-end street or a dead-end driveway.
I don't mind that.
Yeah.
I mean, my question was, is it going to be like something to come up with these people that they're not to use?
It's not supposed to be, and it's,
So that it's not used as a cut through or any kids will go anywhere. And there's going to be kids.
What we could do, if you'd like, is to put a couple of posts in a chain.
Yeah.
Put a key to drop it.
I think that makes sense to put a chain across there. And we can condition that. We can put that as a condition of our special permit, that this be emergency access only.
Oh, sure.
And then that's enforceable. You see, the zoning enforcement officer, if somebody started using that as a driveway, then you could complain to or file a complaint with the zoning enforcement officer, and he would...
Call me up.
Or call the association up, or call somebody and make them stop, cease and desist. But a chain would keep people out. A chain, and the fire department can certainly cut that chain with their tools, and if they needed to get in there.
Actually, may I just, this brought up something else, made me think. So your lot, I don't know if it's one or two, the lot that has the hayfield in it?
Yes.
Okay.
That's one.
One, okay. So that by design has 200 feet of frontage.
Yes.
And it's about an acre and a third, I believe.
And that have to.
Yeah. Since all of us at some point aren't going to be here any longer, and there's going to be subsequent boards, it would be great, since you are building some open space and some agricultural character into this, that this permit or project be conditioned that this always remains unbuilt upon, because that could be viewed as another house lot down the road, because it's got 200 feet of frontage and it's 1.3 acres. So someone could say, the condominium complex could say, let's make some money and sell that house lot, and you'd have another house out here, whereas we're reviewing this, and I'm sort of predisposed towards this because of this.
Yes.
And the fact that it does build open space into this project. I wouldn't want to see that lost down the
Well,
road.
the current zoning wouldn't allow that to happen.
But
if
zoning
you
can be
wanted to
changed on
condition
any
it, I
given
would be
Wednesday.
fine with that.
Oh, so I would like to see a condition to
Yes,
that
I think we
effect.
should condition that.
If I may.
Yeah, sure.
I echo the sentiment of Mrs. Lamprey as well. And
as what you have just brought up. I'm Betty Parada. I live across the street, and I am the former owner of this property. Since this is a request for a special permit, it is within your discretion to impose conditions. And you just hit on one of the conditions I would like to see imposed. I was resigned when I sold the property that there would be more than 2 houses on this lot. I'm a realist, quite frankly, and I'm comfortable with this proposal. I think it's a nice design, but I think that it's one of the conditions that should be imposed, and that the structures on the property be limited to the 6 townhouses on each lot, the existing barn, which does have historical significance for this town, and 1 sign. I think that should be written in as a condition, in other words, so that in the future, we don't have someone coming in for a variance, for example, requesting to build on the hay lot. The second condition I would like to see is proposed use of the barn be limited as an accessory use for residential use only under the zoning bylaw. In other words, under your present zoning bylaw, when there's a house, you can have an accessory use, a barn, garage, etc. And I'd like to see this limited so that the barn will not increase or add to the traffic that will be coming out of those 12 units. And I think the way to sort of counteract that.
So you're concerned that it might, that it not become a
residential,
a wedding event site or some kind of commercial use, that it be strictly for residential accessory use.
An accessory residential use. You can word it under your bylaw so that the residence as such is, I mean, the barn is used only as an accessory to a residential use of the property. That I think is within the boundaries of the law. The third thing I'd like to see is that there, as a condition, it be imposed, and this may be repetition, that the open space be preserved and maintained in a manner appropriate and not detrimental to the residential and agricultural uses of the neighboring property.
Which is what you just...
I want to see that open space preserved. I know that Mr. Bowles presently intends to keep at least part of it as a hay lot. I would like to see it maintained better than it has been. Presently, those lots are unkempt, but I realize until he knows what he's going to do with the property, and that depends somewhat on you people, that he hasn't done anything. But I think it's important to the attractiveness of the surrounding properties, because presently, in the present condition, it detracts from our value. And I intend, quite frankly, to sell my property in the near future, and I think other people also have that within their minds. So we want to do something to keep the property in a manner appropriate to both the residential and agricultural usages, which are right next door to the property. And also that with respect to, and I consider 2 entrances, but I'm glad somebody said that you can restrict the emergency exit as an emergency road, and then you can enforce that. But I think there clear sight lines should be maintained on the 2 entrances and exits, so that there's nothing that interferes with the sight of drivers coming in and out of there. Because, of course, the detriment to this proposal is, of course, the increase in traffic and noise. We all realize that. I'm sure all of us do. With the addition of 12 houses, we're going to have more traffic and noise in the neighborhood, and traffic safety is a consideration. So I'd like to see clear sight lines be maintained at the 2 entrances. And also, I would like to see the townhouses be screened from public view by a row of tree plantings. That presently is within this plan, and as an alternate to that, in case you do not wish to do that, is alternatively of development be screened from public view by a tree planting along the street line. And those are the conditions that I think are reasonable, and I think they're appropriate, and may in fact decrease any traffic or disruption to the value of the surrounding property. And I'm going to leave these for you to your consideration.
To Mrs. Parada's last point about the screening, I personally anyway would prefer to have it where it currently is placed as opposed to along the road, so that you continue to maintain that open view, agricultural view.
Along the road would probably pose a greater traffic hazard.
Yes,
Frank.
as well.
On the other hand, I think it's important that those structures be screened from the public view.
no.
And I think Mr. Boyle has said that he would do that with tree plantings. It's a good proposal, as I say, maybe the best that we can live with.
And I agree with all those positions. And actually, I only had the field hayed once and donated it to a local farmer here in Hatfield. I'm trying to get someone to take it now. Because I'm going to have to, if I get approved, hay that down and get it ready for site development.
Any other comments from the floor?
Chief.
Excuse me. Excuse me. I'd like to address the numbering issue. I would prefer to see maybe 2 street numbers given to it and then A, B, C, D, E, and F or whatever on, for the 2 lots.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be too confusing for emergency services to try to go in there and find, I forgot where you said 29 through 41, right? No.
Right.
And then also, I'd like to see a sign put out on Elm Street that this is whatever 2 numbers you pick, this is where it is, to help guide the people in there.
I don't disagree with that, Chief. Again, in Northampton, that's totally up to the postmaster, but obviously he takes input from the fire chief. So that would be great by me if it was just 29 and 31, and then A, B, C, D, E. I'm fine with that. As long as everybody else signs off on it, the water department.
Well, that's what you need to do, is to get emergency services, water department, Department of Public Works, building inspector, all at the same table.
Yeah.
And
But that's a condition.
agree on the
All of us
concept.
have to agree.
Yeah.
I'm willing to
Yeah.
do whatever they want. Because it doesn't matter to me how they're numbered, but it makes sense that the fire chief wants to know, the water department wants to know, and the building inspector wants to know. So I'm fine with whatever.
If you'd be willing to do that as a condition of approval, we'd be happy to come back post meeting with everyone and let you know what the preferences here are with everyone here in Hatfield. And just so that the next time somebody comes in, you have a sense of.
Yeah.
Well, I think as long as if we make it a condition, then you got to work it out with those guys.
Correct.
I think
I agree.
whatever they come up with for a plan is okay with that. You don't need, I don't need to see it again, as long as,
In case you were interested.
no, as long as all the parties that are concerned
Right.
develop the plan. It's good, you don't need to review it by me. I don't know about the rest of the folks here.
I agree.
It's okay with me, too.
I just want to point out, I think that Mr. Bowles has, we made a lot of, changes, and really made a lot of changes, and we kind of delayed them and everything else, but I'm just happy to see that. It seems like he's very agreeable to everything that we've said and what Mrs. Parada said and various things like that, so seems to be very cooperative, so I don't have any problem at all, with this. I think,
Peter Pollard, 26. I just have a clarification that there's a line that runs through the hayfield that I can't see what it is. I don't know whether it's a
Right
utility. No, through the field. Right here. Maybe if I walk over.
Sure.
What's
Well, these are just leader lines that,
Great.
things that they're saying.
Okay. Elevations.
Okay. And how big are each of the lots? I guess I can see that from up here too.
Right. It's 3.8 acres and 3.1.
So there's nothing buildable down here either?
No.
I know that's a slope.
No, it's the intention to just build this and this, and that's it.
If I may, following up on Greg's comment, I think the design of the housing and the size of the housing is, well, first of all, the design of the housing is quite attractive. And I think that the size of the housing is actually a housing stock that we don't have that much of in Hatfield.
I hope you're right.
Notwithstanding the traffic issues that Mrs. Parada raised, which are inevitable on Elm Street. I mean, this is a sewered lot. Having this number of people and being able to take advantage of sewer and water lines is actually not a bad thing for the overall impact of any projects on the town and accommodating people. Don't want to necessarily use the word cluster fashion because I know that sometimes connotes a negative, but there's something smart growth about this that makes sense.
Any other, Mr. Pollard?
For the record, I want to register concern about the amount of traffic. I know Mr. Parada brought it up, but it's a real concern. We're right across the street. It's, 12, probably 2 cars apiece. So yeah, it's a considerable increase of traffic. So.
I don't know, was this traffic study done? Probably not.
There's one in here that,
Yeah,
well, there is something in here, the number of trips per day and,
We didn't do a study on Elm Street as for traffic. We did, it would be able to count trip count for the development.
This was dated August 5th. There was a report done, expected traffic generated by proposed use. An estimate was made of the traffic that would be generated by the proposed use of the facility during peak traffic hours, traffic periods, and also for a typical weekday. Peak periods assumed for analysis are times of peak traffic demand on Elm Street. Institute of Transportation Engineers Trip Generation Manual, 6th edition, was utilized to estimate the vehicle trips which could be expected to be generated by the project. For the purpose of estimating the number of vehicles, a land use code of 230 residential condominium was used. For residential condominiums, it can be estimated that approximately 0.44 vehicle trips, i.e. 17% entering, 83% exiting, will occur per residential unit during AM peak hour, and approximately 0.52 vehicle trips, that's 67% entering and 33% exiting, will occur during the PM peak hour. The facility can also be projected to generate approximately 5.81 weekday vehicle trips per unit. That's 50-50. So that would be facility 12 units, entering 1, exiting 5, total 6. That's weekday AM, weekday PM, 12 units, entering 5, exiting 2, total of 7. Weekday 24 hours is 35 and 35, entering and exiting. There were no specific traffic counts available directly at the location of the proposed project. The traffic count conducted by Mass DOT, this was 7 years ago, in 2006, on Elm Street, just east of Dwight Street, indicated that Elm Street has an average daily count of 3,600 vehicles per day. So this summary, the proposed project will produce approximately 6 to 7 vehicles during the peak hour, or 70 vehicles a day. This increase in traffic volume is statistically insignificant to Elm Street daily or peak hour traffic demand as shown above. These increases are within the normal daily variation of traffic and will not be perceived by users of Elm Street and would not impact the level of service on Elm Street or any other. This is from Mr. McDonald, Berkshire Design Group. So yes, it's going to increase some traffic. I guess that's part of our society that we live in. Everybody has to have 2 or more cars now. And I don't know. Anybody?
Is it going to be a 2-car garage? Is it 1 car?
2-car garage. You have a target group that you would probably market this to? Not specifically. So you could have a family. You could have.
I want it to be a neighborhood.
Yeah.
So it could be
You mentioned that the design is such that it could be single-floor living.
Yes.
So it could,
Both models have master bedrooms on the first floor.
so it could accommodate seniors.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
This is-
I'm getting old too.
Mr.
Will there be a
Lesko?
condition on the street parking? Is that maybe an issue? Especially when it comes to fire apparatus, getting around in those areas?
What do you mean by street, Elm Street?
No.
No, on that street.
Well, that's a private drive. I don't know.
Public way.
Yeah, it's not a
not a-
public way.
Well, I mean, if we're obligated to go in there as part of the fire department, we have to make sure that there's access.
I don't know how do you enforce that? It'd be like you parking across the end of your driveway. The ambulance can't get in to get you out, or the fire department can't get in, but nobody can, I mean, they can ask you to move the car to get in there, but.
Yeah, it would seem
Yeah,
like
I
a
don't- I-
condominium association would want to have some rules about how people are parking, and if they've got the
Yeah.
RV trailer out in front or whatever.
It seemed to me that would be handled internally,
Yeah.
that if the other,
That's also why we made the entrance drive is 20 feet wide. That's a typical road. And the emergency vehicle path, we made smaller to discourage public use of that, you know, and it met with the fire chief and the state requirements on width of road for a fire apparatus. But yeah, the association would discourage cars parked along
I
that.
mean, I would hate to see somebody parked across the road or parked in the road and which would prevent the ambulance from getting to the last unit in the corner. But I don't know how we can police that, how anybody.
Something of the condominium association.
That's what I say, yeah, I'm sure that would be a standard clause in any condominium association, saying you can't park in the street, or you can't block the street to prevent just the normal flow of traffic.
The way this was designed is that
Yeah, there's also, if,
two-car garage, but there's room for 2 cars stacked in each driveway.
right, but if somebody was parked in the street by the street, the ambulance or the fire truck could always go around the other way. I mean, they could, even if they had to cut across the grass, they'd get to where they had to get to, I think.
Right.
Mrs. Lambert? Yes.
My question is, some of these children are going to have, these families are going to be children, and some are going to have older children who drive. Is there going to be a place for extra cars for that?
Well, he just said there's a 2-car garage and there's also room in the driveway for 2 cars. So each unit has 4 cars, or has the capability of parking 4 cars. Is that correct?
Yes, and also for guests, you know, you have company
Yeah.
to your house. No, not really for the kids.
No, right, I understand.
And we're not, and there wouldn't be any, well, certainly, I mean, there wouldn't be any reason for, or
Basketball courts.
nor would we
We
want
don't
people
drive on.
parking out on Elm Street,
Why
and
don't you
so
come
they're
up
gonna
to
be pretty
my
far,
street?
I mean, that's,
See how many kids are in the yard.
yeah.
I got
Lots
12
of 'em.
kids.
I know.
And there's probably laws against that, parking in the street on Elm Street.
I see no deal.
My wife
Well, the other issue that you're talking about parking, I'm sure that,
my house, and it's
I would think that the association would have some restrictions on parking there for, especially in the wintertime, for snow removal, plowing. I wouldn't imagine 12 people have 12 private plowers come in and do their yards. You'd probably have one contractor would do the whole thing, and they would have to have their cars off the street.
One of your local contractors, because that's who does my properties now.
Anyone else? Discussion?
Probably.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Sydney Thorne, 26 Elm Street. I just have a question about the trees along the right-hand side of the road going in. If part of the hope is to maintain the hayfield or cornfield or agricultural look, why are those trees there? Because from my perspective, I feel like it would block the field.
Those are actually envisioned as shade trees. They're like maples. So they're up and they provide an edge for the driveway, so you can kind of, when you're driving down Elm Street, you know where it is, and you can identify visually where it starts and where it goes in. It's basically like a tree-lined driveway, and then maybe 15 feet of mown area, then the field. That's the way we envision it.
Well, it feels like it might be aesthetically pleasing for the people who live there, but for the neighbor. I don't know, to me it just blocks the field, which is part of what we're trying to preserve, so I don't know if anything.
Well, that's why we didn't do any plantings along Elm Street, was to keep that as you see it today. Well,
right, I
hopefully
guess what I'm
mowed.
saying, and this is obviously my own self-interest,
Mhm.
but I'm gonna be seeing a road in the trees, and I'm not gonna see the field anymore. So, and I don't know that I agree with the need for them for the other reason, but whatever.
I don't see sidewalks on there internally. You know, in the, if it's, seems to be those houses need a sidewalk in front of them. So you can sit on the porch and talk to your neighbor walking by on the sidewalk.
Required. I don't think it's required, is it? Or is it required?
It's not required, but I mean,
Yeah, the reason we didn't was we took the curbs out to assist with drainage, because the soils there are perfect for
Low impact development.
basically having the water stay right where it is on site. And the drive is so wide, it accommodates a walking neighborhood.
okay.
And I'm not, personally a big fan of, I'd rather see it that there is green space between each house, so that if you're talking with your neighbors, you can do it on the lawn versus on the road or on the sidewalk. There's a lot of green space here.
Moving on.
Yes?
The line of trees that are screening, did somebody say they were going to be fruit trees or evergreens?
Fruit trees.
The concept was to have orchard-like trees. Probably not fruiting, Cortland apples, but, crab apple trees and things
So
like
they
that.
won't really serve as a screen in the winter.
The branching structure only. Trying to make it feel like agricultural as opposed to a solid screen.
Arborvitae's.
But who gets to decide on that, I guess, is, who gets to decide ultimately on the screening?
The type of trees, that'd be me.
Well, we could do it too.
You could pick if you want to pick them. You can pick the calibers and the type of trees,
I'm not
as a
talking
condition.
about picking the individual trees, I'm talking about creating a barrier or not.
I understand.
I think actually myself personally that having something other than just a wall of evergreen arborvitaes would be actually more attractive and more reflective of the agricultural nature of that property. Sure, you're going to see it. I mean, we all see everyone else's houses. I mean, eventually, they're
Cornfield.
it gets, I know this was farmland, and I worked for a national organization that protects farmland, so I hate to see any piece of farmland develop, but this is a piece of property on a major street in town with sewer and water. Considering what perhaps could have been proposed for this lot, this seems like a good compromise. I don't know, I mean, arborvitae works well in industrial settings and commercial settings. I'm not sure how attractive it is in a residential setting.
No.
I agree.
I would rather say evergreen or tree, not fruit trees.
Like what's alongside of your property? That's not, I mean, hedging, there are other things. I think it's a very attractive plan, I'm not trying to.
No, I'm not taking it as
I
criticism.
just think you're gonna be seeing a lot of back of garages.
I don't think you need those trees. I can see, but I can't see them beside the road. Eventually, that's gonna block traffic, and that is a busy highway. I live right across the street. And it's very, very busy. I don't think you need. Yeah, those last two at least, I don't think should be there. Everyone's trees are always overgrown, brush.
I don't know, maple trees you can kind of let them go wild and they get a nice shape to them.
Well, maple trees are nice.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, they're all dying.
Yeah.
No.
Well, like what she has, the maple trees that nice, you know, the red maples or something pretty, but where they didn't have any branches down below.
Well, that's actually what
But it's gonna be hard to get out of there. You know, you have a slight corner coming around.
No, we actually envisioned something like red maples that would be nice in the fall, color-wise,
Yeah.
and yet you'd be able to see completely underneath.
Because those cars go fast there.
Tall
You're gonna
trunk.
have to get out of there quick.
Come on, you're just talking now. Let's move it on.
Okay, any other
There's
discussion?
comment over there.
I got one thing. I just want to ask a question, because at Hatfield Village, the condo association does not take over maintenance until all the units are sold. So my question is, who's going to do the maintenance here until all these units are sold?
Well,
Okay.
the developer, I would say.
Well, right, but I just want to make sure that, it gets done, because the condo association doesn't take over until everything's sold, correct?
Correct.
Right.
Till I turn it over to them, but it'd be my responsibility.
How much are these gonna sell for? Do you mind that?
Probably somewhere in the 370 range.
Beginning at 370, and then the double, the farm style would be more money, probably?
Yeah, it's gonna be an average. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
I've tested that market
Well, I figured you
condition.
must have a general idea.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
my general idea.
Very nice.
Okay, time's up, I'm
We
off
should
the
move it.
payroll.
Yeah, it's 10 o'clock.
Actually, there was another comment.
Was there?
What?
I was just gonna, push another vote for evergreens if possible. I think it would, they don't have to be a straight line of them, but the way you've got them offset as evergreens, I think would look great. I also just wondered how many bedrooms average, and they're not,
Mid-bedroom, Chuck.
Buy a house,
Their design is either two with an office study, or I guess you could have the office study become one. I mean, I can't dictate what somebody uses their house for.
So there could potentially be 3 bedrooms per unit. So that's 36 bedrooms total.
And you have to be owner occupied, or can some rich
Well, they're
person come in?
condominiums, so well,
Somebody come in and then rent to you mass students?
I don't know how to, that would be an internal thing.
That's a problem.
Not at that price range.
No one's gonna buy
a
a,
problem on that street with that right now.
no one's gonna buy a $370,000 house and rent it to some students.
And rent it out.
That's the whole point, is that these are not designed to be rental units.
Okay, it's not gonna be, it's gonna be owner occupied.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And it's not a condominium, you own the property, right?
Yep.
So you actually own the lot that it's on. Condominium, you wouldn't own the lot, right? That's
Well, they own a percentage of the whole.
right, yeah, that's what I mean.
They
yeah,
take care of it.
Yeah, okay.
I think we should move the
And there's
question.
Unfortunately, that depends.
I think we should close the hearing and move the question.
Okay, does anybody have any?
To that question, that depends upon the condominium association bylaws, that's
Right.
whether they can rent or not.
Yeah,
So,
we hate to see a bunch of
but
UMass
the
students.
conditions that, and are going to be enforced against the owner, whoever that is. But in terms of whether or not the condos eventually, or eventually be rented out, that would be part of the bylaws of that condominium.
Right.
Okay.
She's right.
My name is Doug Dobson, I live at 25 Elm. What I'm worried about is the play space for the kids. I guess we're concerned about them moving towards us and keeping them up into the area up there. I guess I'm concerned about that where the barn is. You're not gonna turn that into like a playground for the kids or anything like that, or plans for things like that.
It's not shown on the plan, and we're approving the plan. And I guess if it happens in the future,
Have to come back.
Come back again,
come back.
change the blueprint.
I guess
So
what,
much land around the units, I don't see a need for a separate playground, if that was your question.
No, I'm saying I'm trying to protect that corner because I live over there.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want the kids from the whole neighborhood ended up in our side yards. The Lambrons, the Dobsons, the people that are in that area. My backyard runs alongside the,
Right.
so that's what I'm concerned about.
Well, you
Where
have
are
a
they
tree
gonna
there
play?
right there.
Where are they gonna play? I have 3 kids that play in that whole area. So, sorry about my voice, but.
we'll have some new friends then.
No, I'm happy that there'd be more kids, but I'm saying I have a big yard and 3 kids. You got that whole area and you're limiting to farmland, to this, to that, where the kids are gonna do.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, we're going to close the meeting to take a vote.
Yeah, I make a motion to close the public hearing and take up a vote on this,
Second it.
on this project. All those in favor, close.
Aye.
Aye. I made a list of 5 conditions that we discussed here. Number one, and we may have to refine, that the house numbering system be coordinated with all the town departments. So everybody's on the same page. And number 2, an easement be granted to the water department to read meters, flush water lines, and perform other functions necessary to provide water services. I'm trying to make it all encompassing without making it maintained.
What about utility services, which would encompass the water, electrical, and
Well, I think the electric
natural
company has
gas?
their own easement.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, I guess we could say water and sewer, because the sewer department may need to do something or other. Right.
Electrical, we don't, do we need to be concerned
No,
about that?
because
Or
they
natural gas?
No, they get their own easement. You have to give them an easement to run the service.
Well, the sewage, they'd have to make sure it gets to Elm Street
I
itself.
guess we could say all utilities.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
let's
what I
say all
think.
utilities.
Utility
then.
services?
All utilities. Easement be granted to all utilities to read meters, flush water lines, perform other functions necessary to provide their services,
Yeah.
their utility services. And number 3, the existing barn on Lot 2 remain as a residential accessory use. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Number 4, the front portion of lot number 1, shown as, quote, agricultural / hayfield, close quotes, remain in agricultural use.
I would amend that just to say agricultural / open use, because we can't guarantee that.
No, I know, but it's labeled as a hayfield, and I'm trying to distinguish it by saying that. I'm trying to distinguish it as shown on the plan, you
Okay,
see.
all right.
That's what is defined on the plan, not limiting it, because I said remain in agricultural use. I'm not limiting it to hayfield or agricultural. Well, this says agriculture, but on the other plan, where is it shown here? I saw that.
She had, be preserved and maintained in a manner appropriate, not different.
Oh, Ms. Parada submitted that? I didn't know she submitted
Yeah.
it. Okay, I would say, somewhere here it says, is it?
You got it as an agricultural field, right here, agricultural field.
No, it says agriculture / hayfield. I saw it here.
Where the buildings are.
Right here, yeah. I use that to define the area as shown on the plan, not to limit it. And then number 5, emergency access way to be maintained as a secondary emergency vehicle exit / entrance only, and be closed to the public use by post and a locked chain. That would keep kids from going back there, and where are they going to park now?
And the project that we're voting on includes
clear sight lines.
includes this, the tree lines and the screening. So that's part of what we're voting on. So it wouldn't necessarily be a condition of use.
Oh, yeah, I'm thinking and writing at the same time and trying to listen to you. What was that again, please?
So the plan that we're proposing has the tree lines, maybe not necessarily specifically which type of trees, but it has the tree line, the tree buffer both along the road and behind. So that's part of the project that we're voting on. So we don't necessarily have to comment on that in the condition.
No, because we're gonna sign these plans. special permit with site plan review. Yes, we're going to approve the site plan. We're going to stamp it and sign it. So this becomes cast in concrete. Once we stamp it and sign it. We're going to put on here, condition 6, that clear, did you mean, Ms. Parada, did you mean clear sight lines to be maintained at the 2 entrances to the property for traffic purposes?
Yes, in other words.
Not for aesthetic purposes?
For the narrow scrubs trees there, blocking
So I'm going to say clear sight lines for vehicle, yeah, I was going to say exiting and entrancing be maintained, or is that too specific? Yeah. Vehicle access, I guess, kind of covers it all, doesn't it?
Clear sight lines for vehicular movements.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Now we're
Vehicular movement be maintained. Okay, that's condition 6.
And also the structure to be limited to,
Pardon me?
what's on the property now, the 12 townhouses, the 1 barn, and 1 sign. I don't want to say 2 signs going on 2 lots.
About no signs.
Are you going to have a sign identifying the project?
probably necessarily.
We've got to have a restriction on the sign.
So,
I can live with something like the Hatfield Village sign.
yeah.
Right, it would be commensurate with that. Just to identify the location.
As long as you put your utility service box somewhere else, not right out.
Limit project identification sign, identification, signage to 1.
Well, you don't want them using the other road.
Yeah, no.
Clear on that.
One freestanding.
Yeah, 1 freestanding sign, okay, that makes sense.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yes.
And that would also have the numbers on it, I guess, too. Do I- Okay.
You have echo over here.
No, I read her lips. No. Anybody else have anything else to offer on the board?
Can I ask a question? Do you technically need to approve that for lot 1 and then approve for lot 2 also because they're separate lots?
Well, I guess, yeah, we need to take 4 votes here to approve the multifamily special permit on Lot 1 and Lot 2, there's 2, and to approve the site plan. Well, I don't know, it's 1 site plan.
Right.
I think we only need to take 1 vote on that, but because you filed 2 separate special permit applications, did you not?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the conditions, because Lot 1 and Lot 2 are called out in the conditions, that the conditions go on both
Lots.
both special permits. And whether it's the special permit for Lot 1, then the condition for Lot 2 wouldn't be applicable to Lot 1, but it would be applicable on the Lot 2 one, so. I'm going to make a motion that.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve, that we grant the special permit for the multifamily townhouse on Lot 1, subject to the 7 conditions that I have written down here that I just called out. That's a motion.
I second it.
You have a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
No, any discussion?
Oh, any further discussion?
should read his motions that he put down. I know he discussed them, but
I'm just asking if there's any other discussions.
yeah, that's just on the motions, that's all.
Okay.
You should spell them out to us.
Oh, the conditions?
Yeah.
I read them.
You were talking about
Okay,
them.
number one. You want me to read them again, Corey?
Yeah, I couldn't hear you.
Number one, the house number system be coordinated with all town departments so that everybody's on the same page there. Number two, an easement be granted to all utilities to read meters, flush water lines, and perform other functions necessary to provide their utility services. That's mostly for the water department. But number three, the existing barn on Lot 2 remain as a residential accessory use. Number four, the front portion of Lot 1 shown, I'm going to say shown on the plan, as agricultural/hayfield, in quotes, remain in agricultural use. And number five, emergency access, or the emergency access way, be maintained as a secondary emergency vehicle exit/entrance only, and be closed to the public use by posts and a lock chain, I'm going to say at the intersection of Elm Street. No, then we only need to lock it there to keep, or do we? At both ends? Yeah, let's at both ends.
Yes, both ends. I'm recommending both
Yeah,
ends.
at both ends, okay. Number six, clear sight lines for vehicular movement be maintained. Number seven, limit the project identification signage to one freestanding sign on Elm Street, right? On Elm Street. And those are the conditions.
Second it.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're going to take a vote on this. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's unanimous. Lot 1.
That's for Lot 1.
I would like to make a motion that we grant the special permit for the 6-unit multifamily townhouse on Lot 2, subject to the same 7 conditions.
You're not going to make him read them again, are you?
Why not?
He forgot already. He's
He
old,
changed
you
the
know.
last set.
He forgot already what I read. We have a motion.
Second.
Any
those in favor?
discussion?
Yeah, he seconded it.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
The special permits are granted. Now, I would like to make a motion that we approve the site plan as submitted. The conditions go with the special. We approve the site plan for lots 1 and 2 as submitted for the, yeah.
So we got conditions on 1, conditions on 2.
Yeah, but we got all that in the special permit.
Yeah.
Approve that.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the site plan is approved.
Thank you very much.
A 20-day appeal period from the time it's filed. This may take a little more paperwork, so, well, the town clerk's not going to be here till Monday anyway, so
Sometime next week.
sometime next week it'll be filed.
We had also submitted it for me.
Yes, it's right here.
So
Okay.
that needs to happen also.
Okay, we'll take that up till, we're on overtime now.
Or they don't have time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
very much.
Thank everybody for coming.
Now go to your local bank.
Already have.
Thanks for your input, everybody. We really do appreciate it. We got some freaking signing to do. Okay, Chuck.
So we're going to do this A&R form?
Yeah, I guess. We'll do it now.
That's to split the two lots.
Ed,
All we have is one Mylar?
Ed,
No. Is that all we have?
We need two.
you're probably gonna be leaving.
No,
I don't
that's
know how
it.
long.
Okay,
Is
we
that
got
the
one
plan?
Mylar.
Is that that's the rest of the, okay, that's all the Form As.
What are we on now?
This for the subdivision.
The
Yeah, this
A&Rs.
is to cut the land up. We're approving the two lots like we did on the haulage deal.
Minutes of tape left.
You got any more of the last one?
We're just gonna sign plans now, that's the boring part.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we have another gentleman.
Oh, you can do
Why
it
don't we take care
tomorrow.
of this gentleman here.
Got no town clerk coming.
Can't do him. We sign these in the morning.
At the top.
Sure, why not?
Okay. We have one.
Got this
He'll
man
be
here.
around tomorrow, right? Yes. Yeah, all right. I just want to show you this check that he wrote.
We have one. Are you Mr. Albano?
Yeah.
For representing Donaldson.
Ms. Davis, and she suggested I come before you. I'm in the process of preparing a request for a zone change. I know it comes up on the agenda in the spring town meeting. I have to make my request of the select board, they then send it to you. So I thought I would come here to speak with you folks first. You've heard about this property before. I have some minutes from a meeting last February. This is the Betzel property on West Street. I made a couple of these. I don't know how many members there were, but those are the two parcels that we're concerned about. The heirs are trying to sell. Their realtor suggested that they would be best off if they had it all zoned as light industrial. And based on what I've read from the last minutes of the meeting where this was discussed, they actually have no use or even access to that back piece that is zoned light industrial because you can't apparently have a
Couldn't use
driveway.
it for light industrial if you wanted to, right now.
Right. So,
Can't cross it.
in any event, I'm going to get the ball rolling on this, and I just wanted some guidance from you folks, if you'd be so kind as to share some insight with me.
Is that what, Bob?
73rd, don't do anything.
This is where Chestnut Street comes through, right?
Yeah. It's your privilege to request a zone change.
Yes.
And we're not going to say, no, don't do it, we don't think it's a good idea.
Right.
The industrial portion of the land, or light industrial portion of the land, is landlocked. You can't cross the residential, or what is that, outlying residential, rural residential. You can't cross a rural residential with an industrial driveway. So therefore, it is landlocked as far as use is considered.
Unless it was combined with one of these other.
Yes,
lines.
that's right. Unless it was combined with an abutting parcel and you could gain access from another parcel.
Get out of here, we can't hear.
Again, that's your privilege.
Right.
You can do that.
Go do your talking outside.
We're not going to say, no, don't do it. We will conduct the hearing. It's always been our policy, and I'm going to talk. It's always been our policy to take the landowner's request and carry through on the procedure to prepare it for an annual town meeting or special town meeting, whichever comes up, and submit it to the town meeting and let the townspeople decide on how it's going to be zoned.
Is my request to the select board as simple as a letter that says, I hereby request that parcel X, Y, and Z hereby be changed from rural residential to light industrial? That's all I have to do?
Yeah.
Then I'll get something off almost immediately to the
Well,
select
I don't
board.
know that it may be too soon because, of course, our annual town meeting is until May, and we can't hold a public hearing too soon. And if you submit it and then nothing gets done, and you have to kind of start over again. So I think what you need to do is this protocol, and I found it online somewhere, is the number of days between actions. And I think you need to back up from there and submit it when it would fall into place. Generally, we've held our public hearings in February to get ready for the May annual town meeting. So we're within 60 days.
Yeah, I think it's 65 days, the public hearing.
Right. So you have to kind of back up from there, and it may be maybe you submit it to the selectmen in December or something like that. I don't have the
Right.
stuff with.
Okay, I mean, that's
have
certainly something I can find. But, so you're saying if I go through this process and I complete this process in January, that it would be stale by May and they wouldn't be able to bring it
No,
up
you
to
just-
the...
They're gonna get
Hold
it
it
on
off.
the warrant, which is usually by February, right?
Yeah.
So we need
First
time,
of February, I think they do the warrant.
right?
So that means I've got to be done with this process by the 1st of February.
Should be.
Yeah.
Well, didn't we did some last year towards the end of February. didn't we?
Yeah.
Depends on how receptive the
We're
selectmen
late.
are.
Okay.
Aside,
Okay, so,
Do you know what that land is?
I don't know how wet it is.
Don't walk out there without
I
boots.
know, I can tell you just from history, because I was on the master plan committee that did this zone, is that the reason that these two lots were not included in the light industrial is because there were houses on them.
Right.
They're residential, so they were left as residential units because they were residential lots.
Yeah.
And as I know one of them is vacant right now and for sale, the other one has and there is a house even on that lot too. But
Right.
that's just the reason why they were identified as residential as opposed to being included in the light industrial, because
That's what I understood.
we were memorializing an existing use.
Oh, this is your hydro press, where's hydro press?
so getting back to the timeline, yeah, I guess you
Those are
gotta
the
get it
houses.
done.
Those are the
We
houses.
gotta have our public hearing
They
the
just wanna
1st
make
of
it all the way
February
out.
in order to get it on the annual town meeting warrant, because they close the warrant the first or second week of February. So you need to back up from there.
Yeah.
So maybe it's November that you submit the request.
How often does your board meet?
Once a month, roughly, average.
Okay. So,
Unless there's some-
in December and November, tough months with the holidays in there, I know, so.
Well, we meet the first of the month, so, and the holidays generally come the end of the month, so.
December probably one, but we've had, it depends upon if there's some special circumstances. I would shoot for December, right?
Because I think they have, the selectmen have like 21 days to submit it to us, and then we have to take action within a certain period of time.
Right. I have the statute, and it says the public hearing shall be held within 65 days after the proposed zoning ordinance or bylaw is submitted to the planning board.
So, but yet it can't be too far out from the annual town meeting either.
Yeah.
There's a matrix too, that if you go online, there's a matrix that, I don't know who publishes, Secretary of State or something, that's a little bit easier to follow than reading chapter 40A.
Okay.
You're probably, being an attorney, you're used to reading that stuff, following it.
Okay, well, that's very helpful. So I know that I started off with a simple letter, and you just made me aware of the timing issue, which I would have just...
Yeah, there are houses there, but again, if the landowner would like to change the zoning, I think we should give them the opportunity to change the zoning. We've always done that. It's their land.
Well, they're doing
the
this
house
kind
isn't
of on the
forever.
advice of their realtor that says that that the property is much more marketable for light industry.
Probably.
I don't know how much light industry is coming around.
Yeah,
but-
and the house could be converted to offices or something like that for the manufacturing or light industry that's taking place on the remainder of the lot. So, just like the log home sales place, that could change to another commercial use as well, so. That's always been our policy, again, to send it to town meeting, unless it was something really crazy, and that doesn't come up very often. Let the townspeople decide on how it should be.
Great. Well, I know it's been a long night for you gentlemen, so I'm not going to take up any more of your time. I do appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Have a nice evening.
You want to talk about zoning bylaws? I don't think so. Huh? Yeah.
Are we going to do that Form A tonight?
We'll leave it
Next
downstairs
meeting.
and we'll all sign it tomorrow. It's getting too late.
I mean, yeah.
This is the zoning, and I've got a copy for all of you guys. That is the rule that we have to go by. And these are the number of departments. I put a number by each of them. Some
Yep.
of them have 0.
Wow.
But we need 17 copies of the application. We now get 8. One goes back to the applicant, and one stays with the town clerk, so I actually get 6. So we really need to resolve what you folks want to do about that, because with these 2 last, I did
Okay.
a lot of legwork to get all of the applications back, and there's always a fear that there may not be a complete application come back.
Okay, how about if we going forward, when somebody applies for a special permit or site plan review or a special permit with a site plan approval, tell them we need 17 copies.
We got a little problem with the bylaws,
Well,
I
you
think.
can't,
Huh?
because the bylaw says 8.
Well, can't we make it a procedure, a procedural change rather than a bylaw change? I mean, the bylaw says 8, but procedurally, we need 17. It's too bad that the bylaw says that it...
Well, that's gonna be a minor change.
Well, yeah, but it takes a town meeting to change it. In the meantime...
Who's gonna care? Well, yeah, in the meantime, yeah.
we need 9 more copies than we're getting.
Okay, yeah.
So,
Now, in that group, I should tell you that I added conservation, not conservation, I added the assessors, which are not included in this write-up, also DPW. I'm told that DPW does need to be included, certainly. Assessors is iffy, but they would like to be included.
yeah, for curb cuts or utility services and, you know, whether there's sewer available or...
That water and sewer would love to have a copy of everything. They get very interested.
Yep.
And I didn't include them.
Can we,
I don't know why we couldn't make it a procedural change and then amend the bylaw at the next town meeting.
That's what I
Just
would
make it a
suggest.
procedural change. I mean, if we ask for more paper from the people, does that mean the Attorney General is going to deny our decision? I doubt it. If we ask for less, I could see that.
Well, I'd love you to talk to Louise about that.
Why?
Because she had pretty good knowledge of what was happening here. And it didn't sound like, did it? That
If
it
we
was
just-
one of those easy things that she was suggesting, as I told you, that perhaps we ask for electronic copies, which no one seems to be too interested in.
No.
Try to go through this sort of thing.
No, everybody
It's hard to see.
We're all old dogs. We want paper to read.
That's right.
Well, sometimes the way you submit an electronic copy, you can't call it up. I got a selectman that can't call it up.
And a
You
lot
know,
of
so,
people-
you know, so I mean, I think, you know, for the time being, until everybody gets on board, 'cause
Yeah.
depending if it's a PDF file, so I don't, you know, I would just, like what Bob suggested, do a procedural thing and then worry about the town meeting later on.
could you draft?
That's what I say.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I would like to make a motion that we
Write a letter or make a...
amend our procedures and amend the forms for site plan review and special permit with site plan review to require 17 copies of the submittal. Distribution to the other town boards and departments. And then at a later date, change the zoning bylaws so that it
Reflects the bylaw.
reflects that
the number
change,
of-
yes. And that's
So
a
that
motion.
what?
The zoning bylaws reflect,
Correct number of copies.
yeah,
Procedural.
or we say in the bylaw, as required by the planning board procedure.
I would say
And then that, if we need 22 copies, we get 22.
can
We don't have
change
to
it.
change it
Makes
again.
easy. Nice and tidy. Yeah.
Okay, that motion is seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye,
Aye.
okay. So we'll change the forms.
All right, the other thing I have for you folks is the revised, came over from,
Can I sign this thing now, since we're sitting there?
I guess you could. I guess you could. We were just gonna leave them downstairs and everybody come in at their own time and sign it, because it's so late.
Okay.
It's getting to be
All right,
11
that's
o'clock.
fine.
Okay, this is the thing Larry Smith did that we...
This is what we discussed with the last
Yeah.
stuff.
we
And
made
this
some
includes
corrections
our
in it as well.
corrections. Yep.
Take that home and read it. We're not gonna read it tonight.
I make a recommendation that we continue the unfinished business until our next meeting,
Second.
and that we close this public hearing,
Second.
close this meeting. All those in favor? Any,
Aye.
any discussion?
Before we second
Let's
that-
have a vote.
Before we second that, just, everybody's agreeable that I'm on the marijuana committee? Okay, so you have a meeting between now and October.
Okay.
Yeah.
We get free samples the first meeting. So
That's what I figured.
So I want to be on it, you know? So you can vote that, so that, you know.
I figured that's why you volunteered
Okay.
for it, yeah.
All those in favor of closing the meeting, say aye.
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 The meeting's closed. So next meeting is October 2nd, 2013. Thank you, everybody, for coming and spending 3.5 hours. Huh?
Don't tell it.